everybody? It's the One Shot Killers podcast. I am your host, the hardcore icon, Brent Scott Newton, with your guest tonight of Last Week in Wrestling podcast. We got Dylan and Sam.
Yep.
What's going on,
Right.
guys? A little too sweet for you? Right in the action right there.
Sir.
How are we doing?
We don't have JoJo on. I got to admit, we've all been talking for the last 3 hours.
Yeah, 3-4 hours, man.
So JoJo, I think his stuff died out on us, but that's all right. We got Night of Champions to get into. We got some really fun stuff today because I'm happy to get into the show, especially the climatic ending. But I want to take us to the start of the show with a new World Heavyweight Champion with AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins. And I want to ask you guys this too, because this was a big one that me and JoJo wanted to talk about with this. How did y'all feel about this match going on first?
I thought it was initially. I thought it was dumb. I'll be honest. I thought this was a dumb way to start the show off with the fact that we had 3 main, quote unquote, main events of the actual evening. You know, Brock and Cody, Roman and Sammy with the tag team match.
Hey, brothers. Hey, friends. What's going on, Jordan? How you doing?
What's going on, Jordan? You know, at the same time, we had Seth and AJ. I think that this was maybe at the beginning, I thought it was a dumb idea. But when it happened and how long it happened, it almost lasted 45 minutes, for Christ's sake, the match itself. I thought it was a good idea. I think this is a great way to start off the show, kind of leading into the Becky and Trish right after, you know, that up and down roller coaster of an evening. Well, for us, at least over here in the States, a day. Afternoon, really. I know for a while I've been calling it the day of disappointment, pay-per-view. And honestly, you know, not for nothing, with the start of the match being Seth and AJ, and then, of course, leading into Roman and all of them, it was definitely not a day of disappointment.
Oh, I agree 100%. And, you know, I always like to say this because I think a lot of times it's true. Yeah. Whatever the show starts off with is going to tell you how the rest of the show is going to be. If it starts off terrible, I guarantee you the rest of that show will be terrible. If it starts off good, it has a promise for the rest of the show to be good. And so I always think that your opener and your closer are the 2 most important matches on the card. Because,
for sure.
You know, the middle is important, but it's really those 2 things that everybody's going to go home talking about. The first thing we saw and the last thing we saw. And, you know, honestly, I didn't think this match disappointed. I'd honestly even say match of the year contender. And we still got the rest of the year to go through. And, you know, for what everybody was saying, oh, you know, this going on first is a bad idea. You know, me and JoJo were talking about it too. He's like, it's going to suck. I don't even want to watch Night of Champions. I'm just ready for Money in the Bank. Because the build-up was shit. I think we can all say that. It was absolute dog shit. But fucking the pay-per-view itself was premium live event itself was solid. And, you know, and I think to me, this is something that WWE is actually getting known for, where the build-up of the show is not all that. But when it's time for the show itself, you know, that's when you really see the best of WWE. And it's kind of weird on how they've changed that formula to where the weekly shows used to be as good, if not sometimes a little better than the pay-per-views, to now, okay, we're only going to put our best stuff on the pay-per-views.
Right.
Because let's be honest, you know, Monday Night Raw, this match would not have even got the time it was given.
Right.
And so I think it's done systematically, honestly, more than anything. Because what it does is it's like, okay, I think it's a double-edged sword. Because one is like, all right, if you know the formula, you're like, okay, well, fuck. I can start the month of May, right? It's Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown have kind of been the same shit throughout the whole month. And each week each week you tune into SmackDown, I guarantee you, basically the same shit that happened last week is the shit that's going to happen this week. And so, to me, there's not a lot of reason to tune into Raw and SmackDown. But when you tune into the pay-per-views, there you go. And so I feel like if you know the formula, the pay-per-views are never going to disappoint. But however, if you're that casual watcher and you're like, man, I just sat through 3 hours of bullshit, and then you tune in next week and it's like, and more. Why are you going to want to watch the pay-per-view? Double-edged sword. But I feel like the two shows that should always matter the most are the go home and the pay-per-view itself. Now, the go home, for some reason, has been absolute ass. But I'm hoping that the Monday Night Raw that we get Monday and coming out of the pay-per-view, I'm so used to saying tomorrow because pay-per-views used to be on Sunday. But
dating ourselves.
Oh, absolutely, man, absolutely. I still remember back in my day when it was $60.
Back in my day.
Back in my day, that was $60 per viewing.
Mm-hmm. And then 2014, $10 a month. And then, let's be honest, it was free. Because if you had an account, signed up a new account, signed up your friend's account, you got the WWE Network and every
Great time.
So, I mean, really dating myself here, but, it's kind of like in today's WWE, watching the weekly product, I would not spend $60 on a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's where I think WWE is hurting themselves with this kind of booking. But then also at the same time, fans are really patient because we all thought this pay-per-view was going to suck. And then we watched it anyways. And then you get a phenomenal, no pun intended, phenomenal match out of AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins. And honestly, thought AJ was winning the title at times. Really thought he was winning the title. But I predicted it, and I'm proud to say I predicted every single thing on this card to a T, as I said it would happen. If you go back to our predictions video. And it's just one of those things where, hey, it was worth it, but also very predictable because to me, even since the title's inception, I knew Seth Rollins was going to be that guy. And going into Backlash, JoJo was like, oh, he's facing Omos. They're going to make him lose, yada, yada, yada. He's not going to win the World Heavyweight title. And I'm like, bro, he's winning the title. Just trust me.
Backlash, though, like, I just want to say this quick, but even with Backlash, like, to JoJo's point, I figured also it was going to be a squash match due to the circumstances of Omos versus Seth. We have your David and Goliath type of story with the two of them. And in all honesty, I figured they were going to make Omos look strong, especially facing someone of the caliber of Seth freaking Rollins. And, having Seth overcome the giant in such feat, I thought was smart because then, of course, leading into Night of Champions and the tournament, you now gave Seth that upper hand against the competition, a leg up. And for that, we now have the new World Heavyweight Champion. But what's also really crazy is the fact that at one point this was supposed to continue the lineage of the WWE World Heavyweight belt that ended in 2013. But as we found out, yesterday, this did not. This belt, this is a brand new lineage, and it's crazy to me because it's like I get it, new characters, new wrestlers, a new time, but at the same time, the ending of the World Heavyweight belt in 2013 didn't really end in the proper way that us fans wanted it to end.
You mentioned it there. They can't continue. So it's weird because they can't continue the lineage of the World Heavyweight Championship because technically it's still around. If you look at the belt, one of the belts Roman holds, it says World Heavyweight Championship on it. I know we call it the WWE Championship, but that is the unified WWE World Heavyweight Championship.
And
Roman's holding a double. Technically, Roman's holding a double unified championship because the WWE Championship is the big gold and the WWE, and of course you mix it with Universal. That's a double unification right there, which is kind of crazy. But that I understand why they did because technically it's already been unified with a different belt. And even to this day, that belt holds it. So it's like I'm all cool with it. This match was great. I was a little upset because I've been talking to Dylan all this time. It's like I wanted AJ to win. I'll be honest with you. I wanted him to get that another world championship run. Really show why he's. And on top of that, he's got the OC. Really show why he's phenomenal.
Exactly.
Like, pun intended.
You know, what I told JoJo in our predictions video is my heart says AJ Styles, but my mind tells me Seth Rollins. And maybe I'm wrong for this, or maybe WWE has just put me in this place. But a lot of times, my heart might want something, but I know what my mind is saying, and a lot of times, what my mind is saying is what WWE ends up doing. It's kind of like if y'all have ever heard my Vince impression where I'm like, yeah, damn it, yeah. You like that good shit, pal? I'll show you good shit, damn it. And it's like
good shit right there, buddy.
Sometimes I think I hear that crazy old fucker in my head because I can call a pay-per-view exactly how it's going to happen. And this was no different. But like I said, my heart wanted AJ Styles, so I don't blame you there. But you are 100% right, because if we go back to 2013, you know, when John Cena had the big gold, the WWE title, Randy Orton had the big gold WWE title, they unified that title into the one championship. And then, like you said, now the title says WWE World Heavyweight Champion on the WWE title, which is now unified with the Universal title.
Right.
And so that title's lineage is still there in existence with the WWE title. But at the same time, you look at that new world title. Yeah, it's got a weird-ass WWE logo in the middle of it, but that looks like the big gold.
I think it looks beautiful. I think it's definitely one of the best-looking belts they have at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
better than Universal.
What?
It's better than the Universal.
I think that belt is. I love that belt, the new World Heavyweight Championship. Love it, but I wasn't a big fan of this belt when it first debuted. But
why is that? Something
about that U.S. belt is just so beautiful that it just puts it a little bit over this new World Heavyweight. I think what would really I don't want to talk about belts because I could go on a huge tangent. But if they painted the back where the stars are blue on that United States, that would be like it's already my number one, like tied with the new World Heavyweight. But if they blue right there, a little bit of blue, and then painted those stars white.
Oh, see, that would be nice.
Over the top number one belt.
And I want to talk belts for a minute because I'm a belt guy myself. To me, and I'm a classic belt guy, I prefer the black strap with the gold plates. Always have. Because, like, for example, the tag titles now, despite the red and blue straps, the title's silver. Whoever wants to say in a promo, yeah, I won the silver. You know what I mean? I'm a defend the silver.
Secondary.
You're right. I want to defend the gold. Yes. I have the gold. You know what I mean? That just sounds right. And I never really cared for the colorful straps on the titles. Hated the red Universal title. Hated the blue Universal title.
I think blue definitely looks better on that belt than the red does.
I agree, but it should be a darker blue. You know what I mean? Like a royal blue. And I don't like that light blue that they got on it for some reason. Like if you look at the Walmart toy version, it's almost like a sky blue. Not the wrestler, but you know what I mean. And I don't like that. It should be a dark blue to make it feel rich. And, you know, so to me, it's just one of those things to where I don't know. I don't like it. Same with the SmackDown tag titles, the Raw tag titles. I didn't even, for the longest time, didn't even like the Intercontinental title that Cody Rhodes brought back. I know that's a classic and it's a call on a classic. But I preferred that 2008 IC title. I still do to this day.
Baby.
Mm-hmm. The one that Chris Jericho held, the one that Kofi Kingston held, the one that Santino Marella and Umaga held. That IC title to me is my favorite. And the big gold, that's my favorite title of all time. That's the title when I think of a championship. I think Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, your Benoits, your Triple H's, your Shawn Michaels, CM Punk's, Jeff Hardy's, Batista's, The Undertaker's. That title has such a profound lineage that, to me, it is the standard for what a title should be. And so, to me, I love the new WWE World Heavyweight title because it's the only title that they have before they put the colorful backing on the NXT titles that still look like a classic championship.
So you're gonna hate me for this, but like growing up at the time, like I was like a 2000s wrestling fan. So you're gonna hate me when I say this, but like growing up, man, it was all about that spinner belt. Because again, guys like Orton, like
I love the spinner belt.
Cena. Perfect. Then we're good. Orton, Hardy, Jeff Hardy, man, he held it, bro.
Now, Sam, I do gotta say this. I don't think the title always looked good with everybody. Like, it looked good with Cena.
I could wholly agree.
You know what I mean? It looked good with Cena for sure. I even think it looked good with Jeff. But I do not think it looked. I don't think it looked good with Triple H, and I don't think it looked good with Randy Orton. And for some reason, it didn't even fit with Edge. Even Edge himself didn't like that title.
When he had the rated R, I feel like they could have done a lot more with that custom belt.
Did you see the design that Edge had drew to kind of look like the Intercontinental title?
Yeah, dude, that was awesome. Yeah. But like for me, like another thing too is like that belt, that spinner belt became like even when they stopped the spin, that belt became iconic when Punk went on that. We'll always talk about him holding that belt. You had the one kid behind CM Punk screaming at Vince, and just Punk looks over and goes with the belt in hand and runs out in Chicago.
Do you know what could have made this even better? So obviously, you know, he resigned. But here's what I would have done. I would have let him take it to Ring of Honor. I would have let him take it to Impact because it would have made more of a big deal when he comes back.
Yes, I always say that. Yes, he should have gone to the New Japan. He went to like I think 1 or 2 indie events.
Yep.
But like they should have let him go to Ring of Honor where he started. They should have let him go to New Japan and Impact TNA, whatever you call it. And even if he didn't wrestle, him sitting in the crowd and them going, it's CM Punk, the card WWE.
But he has to have the title in his hand. You know what I mean?
If he had a championship around his arm.
I love that you said Ring of Honor too, because think about this. 2005, CM Punk signs his WWE contract in the Ring of Honor ring. So
on the Ring of Honor championship, mind you, he used the championship as a clipboard to sign his WWE contract.
So imagine if he had left WWE with the WWE title, went to Ring of Honor, stood in the middle of the ROH ring, holding the title above his head like a big fuck you like he did in 2005.
That would have been that would have
been wild.
That would have been. Listen, there's 2 things I say. I'm a big, and you know what? It's because CM Punk made them. CM Punk really made the spinner belt? Like we always talk about, it's John Cena's thing, but that was Punk's belt before the days. And let's be honest, because it's a part of that iconic moment. I will always say that This Fire is a better song for him than Cult of Personality.
Thank you.
We always talk about Cult of Personality. Oh, it's a big CM. But he came out in 2011, Money in the Bank, to This Fire. When he first won it, and the first moment he held that belt up, it was to This Fire.
And maybe as a song, I prefer Cult of Personality to This Fire Burns by Killswitch Engage. But at the same time, there was some, you know, CM Punk and his aura, and it fit Killswitch Engage a lot better than it did Cult of Personality. But I don't know. I don't hate Cult of Personality with him either.
Oh no, iconic, classic song. Is just for me at least. I remember when he came out to Cult of Personality, I did hear rumblings. Just that was his old indie theme. But like, I listened to it. It's like, oh, it's cool. But like for me, it's like when he went out to like the song by AFI for Revolution. It could have been super cool as a one and done reference, and then he goes back to this fire. Maybe every now and again he goes back to Cult of Personality. But for me, growing up, like even watching him, it was this fire.
Yeah,
that song. I listen to that song to this day, and it's like, wow, this. If I saw CM Punk come back tomorrow to like AEW or whatever, and he came out to this fire, like I'd lose my mind.
I'd pop
instantly, because I'd be like, that's a song when he became a made man.
So this might be a hard one for you guys, but now that we're talking about theme songs real quick, what are your top 5 favorite theme songs of all time?
Easy. Number 5, I'm gonna put it, This Fire, CM Punk. I know I talked about it, I love it, but this is all for me as a kid growing up, the songs that I love to listen to. Number 4, Sexy Boy, Shawn Michaels. Classic, iconic. You can't go wrong. Number 3, DX. Not the original, not the regular one, though. The Kings by Run DMC. That, if I was allowed to join DX, I'd be coming out to that song because it slaps. Number 2, Basic Thugonomics. I was there live at WrestleMania 35, and I was singing along to it. And number 1, No More Words, Jeff Hardy. Because you know what? As a Jeff Hardy kid, growing up, that song was just, I danced. Honorable mentions go to SOS, the Kofi Kingston theme, Bullet Club, the Bullet Club theme, the original one, the one most commonly used in between like 2015 into 2021 before it got replaced. And I would say the TNA AJ Styles theme.
Oh, which one? Because he had a few.
I think it was called We Are.
Oh, I thought, is it that one that's like, I am.
That one, yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Like, bro, that is to me one of my favorites. But I mean, if Dylan, I want to get your top 5 before I give mine, but I love each and every one of those.
Also, honorable mention, because I don't think I mentioned it, is Edge's theme. That was barely out of the top 5. It's 5.5.
So, like, now, and also this is one where I can say which one, because with Edge, there's 2 theme songs I really like that he had. And that is Never Gonna Stop Me, and then Metalingus. But Metalingus is the number 1 theme song. And Metalingus is that one everybody knows, On This Day. But if you go back 2003, before he broke, he broke his neck in 2003. So yeah, maybe before that, he was coming out to Rob Zombie's Never Gonna Stop Me, and that's another one that I really like. But I mean, so for Edge, his theme songs, just like CM Punk, have always been a banger. I can really go either or. But for me, Metalingus is that number 1 theme song of all time. Number two, it's either going to be No More Words or I Walk Alone. I feel like that's a banger. MVP's I'm Coming, that theme song for sure. And then I would also have to say number 4, The Game. You can't tell me that theme song doesn't hit, because literally this is a fact about life. It's all about the game, and it's how you play it. It's all about control and if you can take it. Like that I can use in any part of my life. Like that, it's so deep. And number 5, man, now, see, it's always hard when you get to the last one. I probably have to throw in because see, I've already said Metalingus, No More Words, I Walk Alone, and I forget. Man, see, I done forgot the 4th one I said. But 5th, if I had to say one more, I think we would have to say Randy Orton's 2005 theme song.
Burning My Life.
Burning My Life.
Hey, nothing
Nothing you can say. Like, I know Randy hated that theme song, but to me, I prefer it.
Okay, I like that.
What's yours?
I'm shocked no one mentioned it.
If you're about to say like
Ain't No
What?
Stopping Me by Shelton Benjamin is my
Ain't no stopping me, no, you
Yeah.
can't stop
Okay.
me.
Don't stand it, baby.
I think that was a bang. I mean, bang. Like that when Shelton Benjamin came out to that shit, there was a fight on our hands, like for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And you can go into a gym right now and play that and be in the mood. Because think
Yeah.
about that, like, you can't stop the man, no stop. Like,
Yeah.
you can't tell me you can't work out to that. Tell me.
I think my number 4th is one that me and Sam listen to a lot. Is Mark Henry's.
Somebody's gonna get their ass kicked.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Someone about to get their ass kicked.
Yo, I love
My
that
favorite adaptation of it is when Juicy J and 3-6 Mafia performed
song.
it
36
live.
Mafia.
Hell yeah.
Live at a pay-per-view. I think that was one of the greatest moments in WWE history. My number 3, I would have to say, is I think Burning My Light by Randy was definitely one that I mean I watched him become an IC champion like that.
Mhm.
That was a big thing for me. 2 is No More Words for sure. And I think everybody knows my number 1. Yeah, I say it all the time. Viva La Raza by Eddie Guerrero, Lie, Cheat, and Steal.
Is it bad that I always preferred Latino?
You know what? It's funny because it's like I could go back and forth with it, but like Latino Heat, I feel like holds a special place in my heart because that's when Eddie like kind of was on his own run. He was with China after China left DX and was the IC champion. Then China became the IC champion. Then they had the kind of Dominic Rhea Ripley scenario that we have now, and that was really great. But when Eddie kind of broke away and became his own superstar, cut the mullet off, and became like a true
Legend.
like a wrestler. When he came out in the lowriders, he came out with the championship belts, the tag team belts, the US belt, IC belt one more time.
It was
definitely a moment.
His theme song was one of my favorite things from this past WrestleMania. Rey Mysterio comes out with Snoop Dogg in the lowrider. It ain't nothing but a G thing, and then it cuts to Eddie Guerrero's theme song before cutting.
Oh, I popped.
And one thing I love the most off of this, and this is where I popped on this. So if you go back and you watch it back, on the back of the car, it says the game is to be sold and not to be told. Like that just, man, that hits. But and while I'm thinking of Rey Mysterio, honorable mention, who's that jumping out the sky?
Yeah, that's a good one too. I like Stone Cold's theme song. Basic. The game for sure. I thought that was kind of basic for The Rock. What the Rock's cooking.
You know what song I really love, and I've described how it made me feel to Dylan like a couple times, is Roman Reigns' current head of the table theme. To me, hear me out. To me, he says he's God mode. He's on God mode. And when you hear, like, to me, it sounds like when it hits, the angels are singing, descending from as the wrestling God graces us with his presence. The angels are singing. Everything's going to that big crescendo to when he lifts the title in his hand, and you
get that da-da-ba, and like, bro, the minute you hear that, it's kind of like a screech and like an
one of my honorable mentions was the Shield's theme song. Sierra.
You know that's them singing it, right?
Yeah. Shield.
I didn't know that for a few years.
What?
I didn't know that for a few years. It was them singing it.
Yeah, there's a video of them in the recording booth.
If you say that, I knew that was them. Like 9 times, like I'll even admit I did not know that was them until for like maybe a couple years. Like it was when I think we all like a lot of us found out when the Shield originally stopped their run. It was like, oh,
Yeah,
that's
that's
them saying that.
like, bro, I did not find out till 2015.
Yeah,
And
run it.
it's looking at 2015. So I'll give you. Now I think about some more honorable mentions that should have got mentioned. How can you not mention both of Sasha Banks' theme songs, especially the one with Snoop Dogg? Like, that was one of my favorites. When she came back with the blue hair, it was like, yes, yes, y'all. So fresh, y'all. Sasha Banks and Snoop Dogg, we the best, y'all. That theme song hit.
I'll say another modern one, I guess, is Bianca Belair's theme song. Like,
I'm on my own against the wall.
When she came out last year to face, I think it was either last year or 2 years ago when she faced Sasha Banks.
WrestleMania 37.
So that was 2 years ago, and like for some reason that I think that was the year she had the live band also back her up, and dude, that hit, and ever since then, I was like, you know what, this theme song slaps.
I agree, because there's two theme songs modern that if you played them, I'm paying attention. Actually, three modern theme songs that if you play them, I'm stopping what I'm doing and I'm paying attention. Bianca Belair's, Orange Cassidy, and FTR.
Which Orange Cassidy, though? Are you talking about Jane or the one by the Pixies?
The one that he's coming out to now, and it has the piano at the start.
Jane by Jefferson Starship. That's a quality song.
Yes, sir. The minute I hear that piano, I shit you not, every Wednesday I stop what I'm doing. If I'm on my phone, I stop. And then I'm forced to look up. Just like the minute I hear FTR's theme song hits, I'm stopped in what I'm doing and I'm paying attention.
I didn't know this, but Jane was, it's almost like a CM Punk scenario. Jane was Orange Cassidy's indie theme song.
Yep.
I didn't know that. For the longest of time, I didn't know that. And the reason he came out to the reason he came out to the song by the Pixies, I think it was called "In My Mind" or something like that. A great song, by the way. I've listened to that a couple times, but is because there was a licensing issue which held up that thing, and I think it was only a couple weeks before our event at Full Gear was when the licensing.
And it's so crazy how licensing and copyright, especially, and being in our world, especially having to understand about it. It's so crazy how that works and dictates things, because let's go back to the 90s and ECW. New Jack
was coming out to Metallica.
New Jack came out to Natural Born Killers by Dr. Dre and Ice Cube. Never once had that song licensed. He just came out to it because he could. And, that's like some gangster shit, bro, for real. And to know that he was hardcore as could be, nothing was ever fake with that man. And if you don't believe me, just look at the scars on his head.
There's a reason Paul Heyman said he was a gangster, because he was a gangster.
And so still to this day, man, I have that one actually downloaded to my phone. And I guess there's another theme song that should get honorable mention, because every time you play that song, bro, I just get into this mindset of ain't no motherfucker gonna outwork me.
To twist up the question, we've all imagined being wrestlers real quick. I know we're getting heavily off topic, but if we could pick a theme song for ourselves, what would we be? What would it be?
Question: can it be any song, or does it have to be a song that's already a theme song?
It could be any classic song, any song like WWE, original pop that you see on the charts, rap, whatever. So I have again, this is one I thought of a lot. I have a couple. Of course, if I'm doing like a lot of this stuff, to me, if I'm doing it, I don't care if I have like a generic entrance 95% of the time. Those big moments, I'm licensing out a real song. Like I'm one of my best memories growing up was playing Call of Duty Zombies with my boy Jay. So I would be remiss as a Zombies fan if I couldn't do a tribute and use Avenged Sevenfold, Shepherd of Fire, or their song Nightmare from the Moon. If I
Nightmare!
Or if I couldn't use either, I would be so upset.
So for me, I could go Till I Collapse. I just feel like that one's a straight up banger that always gets me in the mood. Or because it's got to be something that smacks. It's got to get me something that, like I said, how Natural Born Killers just makes me feel like I could just take on the world. I need that. I need that I can take on the world kind of aura. So Till I Collapse, that's going to be one. And then if I go on the rock side of things, it was just in this past WWE game too. It's a song by Metallica, "Sad but True," because like literally the song starts off with, "I'm your life. I'm the one who took you there. Hey, hey." Like that, like I don't know, like something that's got to be something that could just make me feel like, all right, yeah, I'm the toughest motherfucker in this room.
Anything for you?
2 from Hollywood Undead.
Which ones? Did I know?
Tendencies and Levitate.
Okay.
They're off the same American Tragedy album. I would also say.
I thought you were gonna say like Everywhere I Go by Hollywood Undead too.
No.
I was like, I don't think they would allow that on the air.
Yeah, no, that's not allowed on there. I would say also.
I think it also depends on what character you're playing.
I agree, because that also plays, like for me, because I already know myself. All right,
I'm not gonna lie to you. I might actually come out to Cactus Jack's fucking theme song if I'm trying to do a hardcore match. The whole where the car skids and then crashes, and you got.
And speaking of Mick Foley, you look at my build, right? I ain't giving you a 5-star classic, all right? So we're gonna bring in that weapons. We're gonna bring in that John Moxley GCW.
I'm willing to take a drive off a 25-foot fucking Hell in the Cell. I'm not lying to you. If me and an opponent had to do a Hell in a Cell match, I would look Triple H dead in the face and tell him, "Do you remember '96 when Mick Foley fell off the fucking Hell in the Cell? Well, guess what? It's happening again." And I'm landing right in front of Wade Barrett. And I hope he's ready to fucking try to catch my bitch ass. Because it's happening.
I would only do that if I could get in the contract of I create a Looney Tunes style hole in the ground, like Wile E. Coyote falling off a cliff after I get thrown through off the cell. That's the only way I'm doing it. If I can make a Wile E. Coyote hole in the ground and just a little sign go up and goes, "Ow." And that's it.
For me, one thing one thing I've always wanted to do is have y'all ever watched GCW before?
Yes.
I've seen a bit of it, especially when Matt Cardona came into play.
Okay, so y'all already know about going through the glass sheets and the light tubes and stuff like that, flaming tables. I've always wanted to have that kind of match.
Yeah.
And I've actually envisioned this in my head for a very long time. And for me, actually, when I envisioned it, even though the 2 songs I mentioned, the song that I always thought for some reason actually was Wild Thing. And I love my best friend Keisha's voice, and I love my sister's voice. And so I could just imagine them singing that song as I'm coming down to the ring. All right, I'm going to take from New Jack here. I'm going to have a trash can full of fucking weapons, throw it in that motherfucker, and I'm ready.
We're going to have a hardcore match. That's what you're setting us up for. Me versus you, Hell in a Cell, hardcore match, no rules, no nothing.
I'll be the special guest ref.
And I tell you now, I'm willing to take a dive off of the cell. You pick how high you want me to dive off of. I don't want no fucking parachute. I don't want no safety landing crash pad. I want to go full 97 Mick Foley right through the fucking.
So pretty much what you're trying.
Like if you wrestle me, this is the only thing I would ever ask you, because look, when we're in the ring, I don't really got to hit you. But
Right.
if we're in the fucking crowd, I promise you, your ass is getting beat like it's a UFC fight.
Let's
All
go.
right, and that's the one reel because
I'm
we
chopping you
keep
right in the
kayfabe
throat.
to a T.
In front of a 3-year-old,
I-
I'm going to chop you
I
right in the
need to
throat.
know how tall you guys are. So when I order the coffins and I get that 2-for-1 special,
I'm 6 foot.
like
5'11".
perfect. Hopefully that 2-for-1 special kicks in great. That Groupon I could get the discount off the coffins.
Because I'm going to
that
raise
you-
up out of the coffin.
No,
like
because when
fucking
you get flung off the cell, that's what you're landing in, is a coffin. I'm just closing the lid. And when
But yeah,
when he tires out for beating your ass, I'm throwing his ass in the coffin too. Just on principle, okay?
and so like in this dream I was telling y'all about, dude, they sing me down to the ring. I throw the trash can filled with weapons at my opponent's face, and don't know if they'll sell that or not. But I've always wanted this one spot, and it was actually a ladder match. So me bringing the other weapons is just because I know I can. But and it would be a tag team ladder match, and so Joe's already been knocked down with the dude inside the ring. But for me, it's that announce table spot, right? And imagine a spirit bomb off the top of a ladder. I'm talking the very top, not like the second rung to the top. No, I'm talking about the very tippy fucking top of that ladder. You're taking a spirit bomb through a flaming table.
Hold up. Me and you are anime fans. I know that from your ringtone. So when you say spirit bomb, are you talking about Keith Lee, spirit bomb, power bomb? Or are you talking about you trying to charge up get the energy from the crowd, charge up that spirit bomb, and hopefully you evaporate that opponent?
So, like, all right, so if I can explain it this way. So you smash your skull into the ladder, and then in that minute, that charge up that you're talking about, you just feel that. You feel that. You get that crowd's energy, and you're on the top of the ladder. You pick that motherfucker up, and you go, and through the flaming table.
Would you be willing to do that if we put the ladder on the top of the cell and we were to climb on top of the ladder that's on top of the cell? Are you willing to jump off of that cell to do a
want to let you know
spirit bomb?
Well,
and then
you guys already know that my
land
tongue's coming back.
on ladders.
I want to let you know
itself.
that they're going to use this tape in either whoever survives. They're using this video in the court proceeding.
So, as you guys already know, and I'll show this for everybody watching, this is just from doing dumb shit trying to be a wrestler as a little kid, but my tongue is sewn back together. And not only that, also, me and my brother used to put our pool ladder on the top of on the trampoline. We'd climb up on top of it, and we'd throw each other off. One of the times he threw me off, I kid you not, our house in Lakeland had a little window that led from the sink to the backyard, so my mom could watch us while she was cleaning the house up. And she was doing dishes, and all she seen was my brother choke slam me off the top of the ladder. I landed on the back of my neck and went through the trampoline mat because we didn't tighten the springs. Nice. So him and the ladder come falling on me. The only thing I really remember after the fall was my mom just rushing out there. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
You want to hear something crazy? So I was wrestling my buddy Evan a while back, years ago, and we had a trampoline as well. And I had him, it was like a circle trampoline with a net. And I laid him on the side of the trampoline where like half of his body hung off, half of his body didn't hang off. And I said, I'm going to swanton bomb over the net and land on you. But you got to make sure you somewhat try to catch me because it was not that big where I had enough space. But it was big enough to where he could try to like catch my fall and have some type of impact. So he didn't do that. So what happened was he moved and my arm tried crashing the fall, and I hit so hard into the railing of the circle trampoline that I had the wind knock completely the fuck out of me. And I was on the floor gasping for air for like 5 minutes. I shit you not, I was ready to go back in right after that and do it again.
So,
but you know, when you're a little kid, you can take that pain.
Of course.
Now I'm 29, I can't take that pain.
So,
right. You mean you do this now? It ain't happening like that. And like, there's only two more I have that I can really remember off the top of my head. One happening to me, and then the other I did. The one I did was when we had removed our netting off our trampoline. We would always have a pool of bikes because I don't know if y'all remember when the Undertaker was a biker, but there was a few of us, myself included, who actually liked that time of the Undertaker. So our bikes were our motorcycles, and I remember I had this orange bike, and I ended up throwing my little friend off the trampoline onto the bike. His back hit the arm, the handlebar of the bike. That one probably is one that I regret because he got fucked up really bad off of that. And then this one I don't regret. It was just really fucking stupid. So, how many of y'all have ever seen Chris or Brian do a flying headbutt?
of course, we all.
Now, imagine doing it off the roof of your house and hitting the metal part of the trampoline, that ring. Imagine your forehead hitting that.
You're knocked out. You're unconscious.
I was. Because I had a one-story house, so it's not like doing it off a two. But fucking, a one-story house, especially for like a 9, 10-year-old kid, is pretty damn high. And be honest with you, I don't know what in God's green earth ever prompted me to do this besides wanting to be a wrestler. But, I thought I could do it. I was Chris Benoit at the time. This was before everything had happened. And so, you just go and you do it. And boom, metal part of trampoline just. And I remember flipping backwards. I don't remember hitting the ground. All I remember was being flopped backwards because it's the only time I ever flipped backwards in my life.
God bless your body.
I remember. So I never had a trampoline, and like, of course, I had an older brother though, and I was like, oh, let's wrestle. So we would have the replica belts and everything, and we'd wrestle in the basement. So we were all unsupervised. There were times where I would spear him, and we'd put holes in the wall. I speared him through a door once. I remember we were wrestling actually upstairs in where I was. We shared a room at the time. And I remember this is a submission match. The only way to win is either you submit the guy or knock him out. And he put me in, I think it was the LaBelle lock, the yes lock. And I remember, I'm not knocking out. I'm back. I'm not. He's like, bro, you good? It's like, bro, I'll be honest with you. I think I passed out for a second there.
Wait, you choked him out for real?
He choked me out. There were times we would go in and we would just like, bro, I'm not like either you tap out or you're getting choked the fuck out. And there were times we would go limp on each other and we weren't playing around.
But I think that all boys, you know what I mean? When you're doing that with your brothers or your friends and you're having that wrestling match and he gets you in a hold, you're not tapping out, especially when it's your brother. You're not tapping out to your brother.
I'd rather be knocked out. There was times he'd win.
Listen, I think I could probably hit my mom with an elbow drop if she was sleeping and she didn't know that I was coming.
So, look, if I ever hit my mom, I'll pray to Jesus.
I think I'm fucked.
Dude, we would wrestle for. I remember
the chocolate right to the back of the.
I remember we would have stories. We would have
stories. Hit me with a LaChaka, bro. She would just straight up. If I ever hit my mom, playing or not playing, she's not gonna grab something. She's just gonna try to straight up beat the shit out of me. That's where I hope y'all would pray to Jesus over my soul and my life. All right. Yeah. I ain't afraid of too many people, but I am afraid of that woman.
Dude,
oh yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but there were stories sometimes. I remember one of the greatest matches me and my brother ever put on. It was like an hour-and-a-half long classic. And I remember we would go to different locations. So for us, it was WrestleMania, and we were in Russia. We were in Moscow, Russia. Don't know why we were in Moscow, Russia. But we were in Moscow, Russia.
What a fucking
we were doing like an hour-and-a-half match, and finally I'm twerking. I'm tweaking his neck back. I'm like, you better fucking tap. I'm getting fucking tired of this. I tweak him back one more time, and I just hear. And I was like, let's go. I put the music on. I'd be celebrating, and then 5 seconds later, he'd be a new character, and he just hit me with something. I was like, oh, back to a new story, because we'd be different characters, too. In the same match, Same match, different characters.
And man, and that's always the best part. My sister always chose to be Rey Mysterio because we had all the Rey mask, and she loved this golden one that I had. And she would straight up hit you with a fucking 619, and then out of nowhere, I guess Ray learned how to do a swanton bomb, and then also Ray could hit you with a pedigree. So I mean, that's how we played. Like our move sets were just kind of combined move sets. But I'll never forget this one because it was one of the last times because, as you get to be 16, 17, and older, you stop being able to really wrestle with your friends. But one of the last times I got to wrestle with one of my friends, I angle slammed him on a box fan. And we broke my dad's box fan and we lied to him about
I tell you now, if you angle slam me on a box fan,
we got a fan right here.
I would have threw you out the fucking window.
That's if you could have afterwards, because he landed on the side of it. All right, it's not like a flat hat. He landed on the side of the box fan, and my dad got pissed off because we lied to him about it for like 3 weeks because he went to go plug it in that night and it didn't work, and my dad can't sleep without.
It's because Kurt Angle came by.
What?
Because Kurt Angle came by and fucking Olympic slammed someone's poor lifeless body on top of it.
They heard they were out of milk.
And bro, so we lied to him about it for 3 weeks because he's like, he can't go to sleep without that fan. He's like, what the fuck? What the fuck happened to my fucking fan? I'll kill you. And then I'm like, Dad, we don't know. We don't know. Oh, well, I found it in your room. And so tell me, why was it in your room? Dad, I don't know. And then he goes, and then for a while, he just kind of chilled out about it. And then one day, me and Deacon were sitting in the room, and then I said, hey, Dad, I said, you remember that time you were bitching about your fan? He goes, yeah. I said, you want to really know what happened? I said, he goes, what? I said, that fucker over there got thrown onto it because Kurt Angle came in this bitch and dropped it. And he goes, oh, so y'all broke my fucking shit. And then I said, yeah. And he goes, well, you're going to the store right now to get me a new one. So I actually had to go to the store, spend $18 on a fucking box fan to replace it. But that was one of the last times I got to truly wrestle with one of my friends. And I just remember after that angle slam, he goes to get up, and he's like,
I can't.
He couldn't breathe. And I thought I killed him. I was like, oh, shit. And so that was why it was one of the last times I wrestled with a friend.
Dude, those were the times back in the day. We would have the replica belt. So there'd be times he'd be turned around expecting a spear, and then he'd get like a replica belt right to the face. I had the plastic replica spinner belt.
We used to bleed
with the straps.
We
didn't go. We
I have a scar because of it on my forehead. Me and my buddy Evan, we would go hard. We would use the replica belts and we would beat each other with them. Like he'd run up on me and hit me on the back of the head with it. He'd hit me in the front of the head with it. There was one time that on outside the ring we were wrestling. It was an Extreme Rules match, and we had like a couple of weapons. Like we had a chair. We had a steel foldable chair inside the trampoline, and we're outside. And he picks me up, and I'm like full body, and my head hits the side of the trampoline side, and I just pop, and I'm like, I'm bleeding, and he goes, do you want to stop? And I'm like, not yet. Give me a sec.
So question now, when he makes you bleed, and I just got to know this, did you make him bleed back?
No.
Damn, because see, look,
I have a dent in my head.
I'm like this. It's all fun and games, but I promise you this. It's all fun and games, but if you make me bleed, then we're going to have problems, because if you make me bleed, I'm going for blood. And when I showed you on my tongue, my cousin Danovan did that. He sliced my tongue open with a razor blade. And
I was like PCO last night or the other night. He fucking got his mouth stapled, and then he pulled out the fucking staples on the Impact show with the fucking pliers.
See, now even the razor blade is too much, but stapling your fucking mouth shut. Ooh, no.
He's like, I mean, from side to side. He
Oh.
stapled the guy's mouth shut, and then PCO started grabbing pliers and ripping them out of his fucking mouth, and you just see his whole mouth like a fucking fountain covered in blood.
We didn't go that crazy as kids.
Yeah,
I think the craziest thing we did is I told you storylines. We had story. So here's the thing: my brother is a big racing fan. He loves like NASCAR, Formula One. So what we would do, our storylines would be okay. So we're a tag team. I'm the wrestler and he's the racer. So someone would piss him off on the track. We'd go outside, race bikes, whatever. Someone would piss him off, and then we'd go into the ring, either do a tag team match or do stories based. It was a crazy time.
it was a crazy time to be alive.
So we created characters and storylines in the video games, but when we were wrestling, outside on the trampoline or in the pool or wherever we could, you would pick a wrestler, but ultimately at the end of the day, it was just us beating the shit out of each other. And, so like I said, when he had sliced my tongue open with the razor blade, I actually had to go get it stitched up. And then when I came back, my brother was holding Donovan by his shoulders. He could not move. And I just remember, and like I said, if you ever make me bleed, Jesus help you, because I'm coming for blood. Dropped him on his head on the concrete like a pile driver. And
Jesus.
Yeah, so that's why we don't play with blood in wrestling. So as I got older, we slowly stopped playing wrestling because people would get hurt, and it wasn't necessarily ever me or my brothers or my sisters that would go and crying about it. It would be if something too far happened, like me having to have my tongue sewn up, or another kid going home because he got really fucked up, and then his mom coming to my house arguing with my mom because we done beat each other's ass. So we had to stop eventually. So where the video games came in is where I learned more about implementing stories and characters. Because one thing I love is, and I'm sure you guys grew up on it, SmackDown versus Raw 2010's create a story mode.
Oh, dude, the SmackDown versus Raw series. When you showed the two games that I love the most, are the 2009 with DX on the cover. I had that for the Wii. One of my favorite things was ladder matches because you had to reach up and actually pretend like you were pulling on it. And then 2011, I played 2010
too. Because I know in 2008 you had to do it, but in 2009, when your superstars coming out. And like you're Jeff Hardy, are you having to go like this with the Wii remote?
I don't remember doing that. I don't think I remember doing that. But I definitely remember the ladder matches that like they tell you, oh, reach up, pull down. It was sometimes a tricky bitch. But if you ever brought a Wii in here in 2009, I will be asking that. I can guarantee it. I will be asking that too.
Hey, bro, I mean, see, I had the Wii, but when I had the Wii, WWE 13 was out. All my friends, bro, were on Xbox 360, PS3, and then there's me in 2013 with a fucking Wii. I had the Wii and the PS2 at the time. That was all I had. And I remember that because I could never play online with anybody if you wanted to play online. But if you came to my house and you wanted to put on some SmackDown versus Raw, I beat your ass all day. But and so now, still to this day, and maybe this is why I still keep my PS1, 2, and stuff like that, is because for the longest time, that's what I grew up on. I didn't get a PS4 till 2018, and I didn't get the Xbox One until December of 2015. So at any other time, man, like it was the Wii, the PS2, the PS1. The PS3 actually got in July of 2020, back when consoles were cheap and you could go and get one because everybody was at home. Missed those days. And, honestly, I know a lot of people are like, I'm glad we're out of the pandemic. But I'm going to tell you this, gas was cheaper.
Games were cheaper.
Facts. I could get in and out of the store, no problem. And for me, I'm so much of it, like when I'm not on this podcast and I'm not at work, I keep to myself. I could go a whole day without talking to nobody and be perfectly fine. And so for me, it's like the pandemic never bothered me too much. Like, and maybe this is where nerds become superheroes, but everybody's like, oh, I can't go outside, I can't live life. And then there's
Well, we
me.
were living that already. We didn't
Right.
need a pandemic. We were living that. There were times before the pandemic I was either at my house playing video games or watching wrestling, or at his house
Exactly.
playing video games and
So,
watching wrestling.
you may have called me lazy, but guess what? In 2020, I was a hero.
I was prepared.
Mm-hmm.
I was prepared. You know what's weird though is like everyone talks about the 2020s having to stay inside, do this. I worked a job where I had like I could leave the house. I would drive. So I would do that. And so it's like for me, I was out and about, still seeing other people, like nothing really happened. The only thing that I had to wear a mask. But it's like when I got home, even I was like I would sit outside sometimes in the backyard, of course. And just like I could even just, but then I would immediately go inside and like hours of video games and just be super chill about it. Like to me, it's like it's all a mindset, and it's like as long as like you're not truly locked up, I was fine.
Same, and that's the biggest thing is you're not truly locked up, and in today's world of social media, let's be honest, it's not the early 2000s like when I was talking about growing up and playing outside. Probably 2014 that ended, and I became more playing inside, and then once I got the PS4, the Xbox Ones, and stuff like that later on. You wanted to, you want to hit me up. Hey, man, we got Snapchat, or you can play the game with me. But we live in this content world now to where you have two options. You're creating the content or you're consuming the content.
Yep.
That's the two options we have. And I wish I would have been on the side of creating the content sooner. But, I was a huge consumer. So for me, consuming the content, even in the pandemic, sitting at home, that never hurt me. It's not like I was ever miserable or anything like that. You know what I mean? I still talked to JoJo. I still watched my wrestling. I still played my games. I still smoked. Still went to work. When the pandemic first started, I was working at Little Caesars, and we didn't have to wear masks. We did not have to wear masks until Dairy Queen got in trouble because some lady complained about a dude in the drive-thru not wearing a mask. When they got in trouble and started to lose business, my manager at the time said, hey, we're not taking a loss like this. Wear your mask. I noticed it's stupid. Wear your mask. Okay. And then I started working at a shoe store. And then I started working at a factory. And then after the factory job, because my dad was under surgery leave for his hernia, I ended up not working for a little bit, and this is where I talk about like that depression state coming out of it. 2021, man, that was a tough one. I was definitely in that depression state, and I just stopped doing everything. So maybe if there was that depression and during the pandemic, it had to be 2021, but not so much 2020. And then, I just got tired of being at home all the time. I got tired of not having no money. I got tired of all my friends doing these cool things meanwhile, I dropped out of high school. I'm chilling at home and I'm watching wrestling and I'm doing everything I had done since I was like a little kid. You know what I mean? So I had to get my mindset to a point of grow the fuck up, essentially. And when I got into that part of my mind, I had started working at AT&T, which is where I'm still at. And then we had started doing the podcast on Spotify before it went to YouTube. And this podcast and my job now in meeting coworkers like while he's in the chat, Okeda and Goy and Austin and Jess and all of them, they help me get to a point where I feel like I can take on the world. And honestly, that was what I needed. And since I've been on that rise, You know what I mean? I talked to y'all earlier about being homeless. We talked to y'all about dropping out of school and stuff. Now, my whole purpose with everything, I want to show people how to get over because I've been under.
That's awesome, man.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if that's anything the pandemic taught me, it's you can either give up when things get hard or you can get tough.
That's actually really good. That's like the best way to live life is just either get up or get out. Like sometimes
Exactly.
you just gotta strap the boots on and just understand it's gonna be a rough ride sometimes, but you're gonna make it through it.
And, you know, and that's where I hate the mindset of I have to go to work. I have to lose this weight. I have to get out of my bed today. I hate that sentence with a passion because what you're doing is you're putting struggle on your opportunities. I want y'all to honestly say this if you haven't before, and if you want to say it with me, you can. I get to get up. I get to go to work. I get to have another day. You know what I mean? Because that's not promised. So you make the best out of each and every opportunity. But when you put the word have, all you're doing is putting struggles on your blessings.
I like that. That is actually a wonderful way to live.
Thank you, bro. And hey, Jordan. And my bad, bro. I'm missing comments. We had really got deep into conversation, so I'm gonna take it back to the review. Seth Rollins versus AJ should have been in the main event, not the first match. Good match, but they deserved the main event. And congratulations to Seth Rollins, great full-time champion. I agree.
It's a couple things with that. It's like another reason I picked AJ to win is because I know Seth is filming Captain America 4, or he was before. I don't know if he's still filming.
Yes,
he is.
He is still filming. I don't know if he's going to be at Raw. I feel like so he will be. But my doubts was like AJ's just a safer bet. He's in the WWE. We know he's not really going anywhere. Just give him the belt. I'm an AJ guy too. I'm a Seth guy as well. I remember when he cashed that belt in the bank.
So
I think either way, each man deserved it. And to go to that main event thing, we talked about this earlier. Just because they didn't finish last doesn't mean they weren't in the main event. I will always say this. Nothing against. I'm a big Becky Lynch fan, but nothing against Becky, nothing against Ronda, nothing against Charlotte. But we all know Kofi and Bryan were the main event. We all know Kofi and Bryan were the main event.
And I agree. And if you take it back to 2002 with WrestleMania 18, so the main event of that show was Triple H versus Chris Jericho. But if you ask any fan that was in attendance or watching at the time, the real main event was Hulk Hogan versus The Rock. Yep. And, you know, something that CM Punk would be pissed off about until even after leaving WWE was I wasn't the main event of WrestleMania. I wasn't
the Undertaker.
But he was, like you said, WrestleMania 29.
I feel like a lot of times when we say the main event, we put a lot of emphasis on the final match. And again, yeah, that technically is the main event. But I feel like we should start selling the cards off of the biggest match the fans are most anticipated on. And whatever just happens to finish the show is one that happens. If it's a card, if it's a match that everyone's anticipated, cool. If not, okay, we still got a ton of more great wrestling, and we just want to give you this one a little early.
I agree, and if you look at what because like I said, if you're a week-to-week fan, the build-up to this pay-per-view did not have the strongest booking. The whole selling point to me on this pay-per-view, because to be honest with you, before the pay-per-view happened, I was just hoping we'd get the Money in the Bank sooner. So for me, the biggest selling point on this pay-per-view was the World Heavyweight title, AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins, and I'm glad it got damn near over 30 minutes because it deserved the time because it was the focus of the whole pay-per-view. Now, I get fans that say it should have been last because I completely agree. But at the same time, last doesn't always mean better because, I mean, look, AEW always has spectacular pay-per-views. But they're so damn long that by the time you get to the last match, that crowd's usually dead. So for me personally, I would rather be in the first or third, fourth match because at least then that crowd still has energy.
Yeah, they react to you. It's a lot like we you talked about AEW. We were there for Full Gear, and we could definitely tell there was a dip in excitement around. I think from when right after Britt Baker and
Mhm.
Soraya, and I think after that was a couple matches. I think Jade Cargill had her match.
Boring.
Mhm.
I think JB Hayter had her match.
Boring.
And we could enjoy it, but again, it's like when we're there so long, the first thing we think of, this is boring. I remember looking at it. I forgot what match it was, and we're there live at a pay per view, and I looked at it, I was like, bro, I just gotta go. I'm gonna go get ice cream or something. I'll be back. And I remember I walked around the arena for I did a half lap, looped back around, and then I was like, okay, I'll get my ice cream. I sat back down. I don't even remember what match it is. And then you go about and you continue the show. Something I like the you know what? It's weird because I went to the last ever WrestleMania that was just one night. So it'd be
Was that 35?
Yep. So it'd be super weird for them to go back to another one night WrestleMania just because of how long it is.
I agree. And, because like I said, that is my biggest complaint on an AEW pay-per-view. I know the matches are going to be solid, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like you said, probably about halfway through the show, if not just a little over half, there's that dip. And to me, it's just kind of like that's taking away from stories. That's taking away from matches. And it's a real shame because each individual talent to their own right deserve to have that huzzah moment, and sometimes you're just not going to get it on a 4 or 5 hour show. So splitting up WrestleMania into 2 nights, ideally one should give more talent more opportunity to be on the show. Otherwise, who would not? But 2, it should showcase more matches in a spotlight, if you will. And so to me, it's just that's one of the things. But to me, if I'm a wrestler, I want to be the start of the show. And the reason why is because you are the first thing that crowd sees. All right. So if this crowd gets hyped going into the second, the third, the fourth match, it's based off the work you did in the first. So to me, I want to be the first thing you see. I want to be the thing that gets you off your feet. I want to be the thing that sets the course for the rest of the show.
Yeah. For me, when I was growing up, it's of course, main eventing WrestleMania was a big thing, but my mentality was, I want the best match. You could put me on first. You could put me on in the middle of the card. You could put me on second to last or just second overall. If I was a wrestler, I want the best match. I want the match that people are talking about. They're showing the highlight reels. I want the people to know that I came out to deliver.
And I think that's the biggest thing is, because you got to remember, you're putting asses in seats, but you got to remember that they paid money to be in that seat.
Yeah.
So they're paying to see you. So you have to deliver. And, and one thing that we talk about with celebrities coming in, even if you're a celebrity, right? To me, you notice as a celebrity, people are putting their money into your pocket. So to me, I don't care if you're a one-off match, don't care if you're a mid-card match, main event match, you put your best 110% because let's be honest, when JoJo went to WrestleMania 37, and this is to sit closer to the stage, not closer to the ring, he spent probably close to $500, if not a little more, for his tickets. And I'm not sure what you guys spent going to AEW, but I know it ain't cheap.
I can tell you from WrestleMania, he was he was sitting on the floor closer to the stage.
Yep.
So I paid, mind you, I bought last minute tickets, but I paid closer on 5-6, and I was sitting in MetLife. I was up, but I had I had a good view of the ring, especially from the horror stories I heard of the lights blinding people. No issues from that. I had a good vantage point.
So were you about as it goes into the tiers, are you about third or fourth row up?
I was like third. I wasn't the full top part of the bowl, but I was like around third bowl because I know the second bowl was underneath me. So it was like third bowl, and right behind me was one of the MetLife signs.
Oh, so you had that perfect view of the ring and the stage and everything.
Yeah.
Mm.
I remember looking out. I was like, "Oh, this is cool." I tell this story because I had a WrestleMania weekend that weekend, so I already had a super long weekend, and then earlier in the day I didn't get no sleep because I drove to Jersey. I met the Bullet Club, what Jay White was part of it. Yeah, when they did the Bullet Club block. So I bought Bullet Club VIP Bullet Club block party tickets. Forgot about it almost until close to the show, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot I'm going to this." And I remember it's like, "Oh, I should go try to get WrestleMania."
So, just out of curiosity, because I know you guys watched the channel because we were talking about it before we went live. But when Simon Miller had pissed off Tama Tonga, and I think Haku was at that block party.
Yep.
Is that what you're talking about?
And they chased him out of there.
Yep.
I have photos with Simon Miller. I think his name is Jules, or I'm forgetting the names, but I have super wonderful, nice guys, like super nice guys. I can't really say more. I think the greatest memory was like I played cornhole with Chase Owens, and I was trash talking him, and it was like super wild. I was like, bro, this is what you can't beat me. What are you trying here? It's like I remember I was trash talking. This is a guy who could beat me up, and I was trash talking him in the corner, like right by. After I was done with that, I shook his hand, walking away. There's people paying Haku $20 to chop him. It got to the point where they had to tell Haku, "It's like, you can't take their money no more. You got to stop. You can't."
See, Haku, I don't know why you would want to chop from him. I'm sorry, that's a tough motherfucker, bro.
They were being like.
I think I heard the story of he bit a guy's nose off one time, and I was just like, that's like some Mike Tyson when he bit the ear off type shit. I ain't trying to mess with that. No.
And I think at the time, like I had my hair growing out almost like this, but a little longer. So when I met him, it was like, bro, you're like a younger version of me. It's like, oh, thank you. That gives me hope.
Hey, and honestly, bro, when you see like this dude's like this, and he's relatively famous, I'd be like, damn right I do.
But
like if John Cena came up to me, man, and he said, which I know is a far thing from, right? But let's say hypothetically he ever said like, hey man, you remind me of me. I'd be like, wait, what? There's hope.
I'd start rapping immediately. John would start my rap career, and in the same day, he would end it.
Yeah.
He would end it.
And he'd shoot you down that quickly, bro.
Oh, like, listen,
I'd body him.
He's my boy. He'd support me. But the second I'm like, John Cena said I would remind him of him, I'm becoming a rapper.
Not happening.
Well, bro, that would be me too. I ain't rapping to save my life. I cannot. I love rap. I'll listen to it. Cannot do it. It's just something I'm not meant to do.
Easy. You say it, but when like the words are supposed to come out, and I'm getting tripped over, like simple words like 1-2 buckle my shoe, it becomes 1-2 buckle Cindy Lou Who or something like that.
Rhyme.
Rhyme. And then I'm just standing there. It's like, hold up. Like I'll be mid bar. It's like, yo, this bar sounded trash. Let me rewrite it real quick. And then like I'm 5 takes deep, and I'm in front of like a group of people. It's like, bro, just shut up already.
Man, and then you see guys like Eminem, bro, coming up with every word that rhymes in the book. Dirt, hurt, Kurt, perk. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm just like, then there's me. I'm just like, could you really rhyme all that together?
Yep.
Like, it was kind of crazy. I was watching the interview he did. He said that he freestyled Rap God. He did not write it. He came up with it in 6 minutes.
He took a nap before making that song.
Crazy.
in the studio. He took a nap, he woke up, and he wrote that song. He made that song. What's really crazy is if you're a hip hop fan like myself, I would say you're a fan of the Locks and Styles P. Jadakiss had a very funny story. He was like, we were making a song. I forgot what song it was, but he said that they were sitting there, they were trying to like figure out everything and whatnot. Him and Jada and Sheik and everything. And he goes, we saw in the corner Styles just kind of like fall asleep. So we were like, okay. And then we got lunch and everything like that. And we came back and he literally woke up while they were away at lunch, spit his verse, and then came back and was listening to it when Jada and Sheik came back. And Jada and Sheik were like, how long did that take? He goes, the moment y'all left, I woke up and I did that shit. And he was like, oh, okay. So you're just a different animal. You're a different breed. Because nobody just, he goes, like, what did you go to sleep and find that verse in the heavens? And like, bro, it's like, it's the truth though. Like,
oh yeah. And that's kind of like, there was an interview with Lil Wayne I was watching. And he was being quoted lyrics he came up with, like "safe sex is better than."
Yeah, safe sex is the best. It's best.
Safe sex is the best sex because it's better to wear that latex than to get that "I'm late" text.
Yeah.
And that shit just goes so hard.
The best is that interview
he was surprised
where he's like, I wrote that. And he goes, yeah, you wrote that. He goes, man, I'm on fire. I'm like, what the fuck? How do you not know that you said that shit? Like,
and then he's saying, bro, I don't even remember where I wrote that. And I'm just like, wait, what? Like, what? But that's where, like, and it's something I was trying to tell you in my own way before we went live, that when you think and think and think and think, it's not going to be as good as if I do. If I script something, it's not going to be as good as just doing it. Yeah. Sometimes to get the best work, the best result, you just got to say fuck it and just do it. Like one of my best examples of this actually comes from pro wrestling. So CM Punk versus John Cena on an episode of Raw. It's the one where he hit the pile driver in 2013 before WrestleMania 29. CM Punk was asked by John, what do you want to do? And he goes, man, I don't know. I don't give a fuck anymore. And then he goes, I guess I want to hit you with a pile driver.
They got in so much trouble for that. They got bitched out for that. I remember watching that. It's like, hold up. The internet says that's a banned move.
Yep.
And then, bro.
Yeah.
But like that's like the Styles Clash was a banned move until Chris Jericho helped AJ get it unbanned a little after WrestleMania 32 because in TNA, I think AJ broke 2 guys' necks with it.
Yeah.
Did he do that on the Indies? He broke the necks. Well,
I know one was in TNA for sure. I just I forget who was against, but he almost damn near broke. Do y'all remember that no chin guy?
James Ellsworth, yeah.
Yeah, he almost broke his neck.
No chin guy. Yeah.
Because when you go to wrestling school, one thing that you're taught when you take a bump is to tuck your neck. And when you're taking the Styles Clash, you can't tuck your neck. You got to stay still. And because he wasn't staying still, if AJ hadn't caught it and seen where his head was, he would have completely killed him.
Yeah, because his head was down here. I remember that. His head was like right here. And Styles, I don't know how they did it, but something happened where he made it safer for when they hit. He popped
up. So if you go and watch it back, he already has him dangled, right? Like he's about to just flat drop him. He sees his neck is kind of tucked in a little bit.
Yeah, they're looking at each other.
And then he pops him up and then drops him.
Because they were staring right at each other for a moment. It's like one of them was going to blow the other a kiss.
That or James Ellsworth was about to do something else.
Hey, yo.
But, I mean, it's just one of those things to where if AJ wasn't the professional that he was and had been there twice, James Ellsworth probably has a broken neck.
Yeah.
And that's how crazy this business is, right? Like, everybody thinks, oh, it's fun and games. It's like playing on a trampoline. No, it's not. You know what I mean? A trampoline is not going to give you the same reaction as a ring because if I've set up rings before, and the frame of a ring is steel. Then you have plywood. Then have y'all ever been in a school gym that had a rest like an amateur mat and it's like very thick
Thin
and
mats.
yeah, it hurts when you get thrown on it. Fucking those little rubber mats about that thick are are on top of the plywood and then the canvas. So it's not landing on a trampoline. It's like landing on a tile fucking living room floor.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
And but I've got way off topic with the show. Getting into next match, I think was Walter versus Ali. Am I correct?
No, it was Trish and
Becky.
Trish versus Becky. This one had the biggest surprise to me because I was expecting Zoe Starks to be involved in any shape or form at the end. And I think this is where, like you had mentioned it too, Dylan, before we went live, where it's like if anybody's going to get a rub out of this, because it's not Trish, and let's be honest, it's not Becky. I think the person getting the rub out of this is going to be Zoe Starks.
For sure. And to the point we were making before is the fact that, when legends come into the business back again after already doing their great career, being able to push the momentum forward to superstar that they believe in and give them that leg up for the future competition. I think that's where, that's when legends shine the most. And that is that leadership that they always want to continue, of course, in the locker rooms, both men and the women. So I think that having Zoe and Trish kind of collaborate with one another is a good idea because Zoe, from NXT was a superstar, and she is on Raw for a reason. It's not like they just needed somebody and brought her up out of all the other women that were in.
Yeah, because you could have brought up
from NXT. So like I'm excited to see what Zoe's going to be because right now she's in the passenger seat, and now Trish is in the driver's seat, kind of driving her to her destination, but not fully getting her there with the true help of Trish. She's going to let Zoe kind of take the wheel soon and take off, and I'm very excited to see that.
So something I'd like to see, and because I feel like when the women's tag titles first came into play, there was a lot of promise, but then it got fucked up really quickly. And I think one thing I would actually really like to see for a women's tag match would be Lita and Becky versus Zoe and Trish.
Right.
And instead of, because look, three of those women don't need the W. But if you had Zoe pin Becky or Lita, that's defining. And that's defining for her career going forward.
Who do you think would matter more?
Zoe pinning Lita.
Okay. So I was thinking the same thing.
Zoe pinning Lita or Becky pinning Zoe.
No, I think
it would be
if you're going to have Zoe be that new up and coming superstar and having Becky beat her at a pay-per-view of such a caliber with both Trish and Lita on both of their corners, giving them that push forward, that raise up, like you are now the future. Having Becky and Zoe's kind of feud continue and prosper in a match like that would make sense. So if Zoe were to pin Lita, it is that defining moment and letting her know I have made it now to the next destination and I can't wait to see what is next. But if Becky were to pin Zoe, now the true testament of her wrestling ability, her stardom, has started, and it's now going to be up to Zoe to overcome Becky as that new obstacle.
Ooh, I like the way you put that.
You think this would be a way to get Trish out of the storyline?
Yeah, because at that stage of the game, Trish and Lita can go back to doing whatever they want to do outside of the WWE, or maybe come back in a year or two and push the new development of women roster, going up to now the Zoes and the Piper Nivens and the Nikki Crosses and all of them. But now, if
one thing I would do
is
to get, because you want to write Trish off, but you also want Zoe to get over. So maybe once this whole tag situation is done, towards the end of Trish and Zoe's little tandem, I would go ahead and have Zoe take out Trish
Right.
because you want to keep her heel momentum. And taking out a legend beloved like Trish Stratus, that's going to go a long way. And thank you. And because when you think about it, her beating Becky and then her beating Trish and then sending Trish packing, then going after a championship potentially later down the road, that sets up the start of a good career, and it comes off this initial story.
The only thing I have with that is that if Zoe were to turn on Trish after Trish has given her that leg up on her stardom in the WWE and given her that push, I don't think it really makes sense. Because if I were to take my quote unquote mentor that has been my literally guiding light to the next level that I want to be in a professional now league like the WWE, if you compare it to like baseball, you have the double A, you have the triple A, and of course you have the major league. Once you come from the triple A into the major league, you're going to have legends that are going to kind of guide you and give you that moment to be a superstar of your own and guide you into that section of where you can do anything now and you can become what they're going to leave as, of course, as a an icon or a legend. Going to wrestling now with Zoe and Trish, I think that if Zoe were to take out Trish after all of this debacle, it doesn't really make sense because then it almost kind of ruins Zoe's look as a heel. Because Zoe right now, I think, could be a heel no matter what, especially having a nice feud with someone like Becky or Rhea or Charlotte or even Bianca or anyone else really in the women's division on both SmackDown or Raw. I mean, I know she's on Raw, so that'll be where she's at. But eventually, maybe she goes to SmackDown to face an Asuka, a Charlotte, a Bianca, or someone else in that women's division. And I think that with Zoe now having that fire under her, especially with Trish igniting it with everything, I think that she making her turn on her person doesn't really make sense. But keeping Trish as her manager on the sidelines, even through big moments in Zoe's career, would make more of a difference.
I can agree with that, but the reason why I think in some ways it would is because look at Ray and Dom, and then also look at Edge, Priest, and Rhea. So Edge kind of, because look, let's go to Priest, right? When the NXT call-ups around that time were happening, every NXT call-up was getting fucked harder than a hooker. And, so Priest was protected by Bad Bunny when he first came up. And then after Bad Bunny had went away after the tag team match at WrestleMania, Priest was kind of, just kind of floating in the water, so to speak. And then when he got with Edge in the Judgment Day, that picked up a lot. And, you can say that Edge brought him to this dance. Same with Rhea, because Rhea was kind of floating for a little bit. All right. And especially on the main roster. And it got to a point of like, you can float, but you're really not going nowhere. And so when you have them join the Judgment Day, that started something. But now you have to get Edge out the picture. They just can't hang on Edge, just like Priest couldn't just hang on Bunny. It's not the way that works. So they kick Edge out the group. Balor becomes the leader. And it's fair to say that all careers in that have benefited from it, especially Dominic Mysterio. And I think Priest as well, because look at the spotlight he was just in at Backlash. And you look at call-ups that I believe that are better than Damian Priest, where you have Robert Roode, you have guys like that as well. And so Robert Roode, EC3, guys like that, Keith Lee, who deserved a lot better and didn't get that, but Damian Priest did. So that's why I don't mind that. You know what I mean?
I know that is actually a very good point. You are right. Edge kind of creating the Judgment Day, giving Damian and Finn and Rhea that now shining light, and of course them, turning on their mentor and guiding light of success to then becoming something of their own faction, a deadly faction, really, in the WWE, and including with Dom and Ray. Ray, of course, being a legend of his own, Rey Mysterio Jr. Now giving Dominic that moment, that shining moment where they became first ever father and son tag team champion, and then having an amazing run with that tag team championship as father and son with the defense titles. I do think that Dom turning on Ray was something that we all knew was coming, but we just couldn't believe it was coming. Because
Exactly.
now we were worried that if Dom were to turn with his, and I hate to say it, but it is the truth, non-wrestling background training, keyword being training, that, it might not have ended well for someone like Dominic. And it didn't seem that way for a bit until he kind of got with Rhea, and he got with Damian, and he got with Finn, and he had three people that have been in the game now for a little longer than Dominic has, and started really training him and getting him to where he's at. I mean, look at him now. Anytime he tries to talk,
He's booed.
Nobody lets him talk. Nobody. And that.
Would you agree with this too? While I don't lose my thought about this. So, like you said, Dom's getting because I do agree that at first the heel run looked like it wasn't going to work for him, and in fact, his first couple promos as a heel were just dog shit,
rough,
and but now he can't even speak to a point. He's almost booed out the fucking building, getting larger boos than MJF and Roman Reigns. Do you think that makes him currently the best heel in the business?
It's a good question. It is. Because Sam and I had this debate. And, Sam's going to say MJF. And for his reasons, I'll let him explain. And they're valid. They're valid reasons. I'm not gonna say they're not.
And that's what JoJo says too. So it's okay.
Dominic has something that I think MJF doesn't. And I'll say this. MJF has gifted talent.
Yes.
He is a gifted wrestler. He is born to perform. He is 100% the creme of wrestling that you want to be, coming from where he's come from. MJF's heel work is by far one of the best natural born heels we have seen in a long time. But the difference between MJF and Dominic is that Dominic has different training that gives him a different set of skills that MJF does not have. And what I mean by that is that MJF is a wrestler, technical, submission-wise, ground and pound, technical wrestler.
Yes.
Dominic has a cultural background wrestling ability that comes from a different lineage that MJF cannot get to.
That lucha libre background.
Exactly. And with that different type of skill set for Dominic between him and MJF, I'm going to let Sam say.
Hey, Sam, real quick.
Question.
Who do you think's a better heel, MJF or Dominic Mysterio?
Well, hold on. I just want to finish this statement real quick. But with that, Dominic has I just had it. Dominic has I lost it. Forgot it.
The better heel.
Yep.
I mean, for me, I prefer MJF. I think he is the better overall heel in my opinion, because with Dominic it was like a steady rise to be a heel. But if you go back and watch old MJF, he's just a heel through and through. His final night at Creator Pro, he was thanking the fans and he was like, you know what? I was just fucking with you. Fuck off. F off. Yeah, he's just that natural dickhead. Like,
yeah, the first time I've seen him, do y'all remember this? So there was a handicapped kid in the audience. MJF lays down on the ring mat, stands up, looks at the kid and says, "Can you do that?" "No, you can't, because I'm better than you, and you know it."
To me, it's just like he has, on top of that, he like Dominic Mysterio, like he gets heel heat, but MJF, I remember because I was there live to see him go, "Hey Pillman, hey Pillman, can I talk to you?" I want him to say, "Hey Pillman, I gotta speak to you." Bro, in New Jersey, I was cheering him, but dude, boos, man, for days.
And that's the biggest difference. Is like to Sam's point, to my point, MJF is a natural born heel. He is 100% the most hated son of a bitch you will find in pro wrestling. And there
Do you remember that time they called
except for Long Island, he's loved here. But he is 100% the most hated person because he is so naturally born gifted with it.
You don't really see that with any
with Dominic. It's a different type of story. There is that work up to the heel, and now where he's at, I would say he's on the cusp of MJF's heels with the heel work. He's not there yet, but if you have to compare the two, in a way, yeah, MJF does steal it. But in my opinion, I think Dominic, if the rate he keeps going at is what he's at now, I think it's going to be a very tied competition between the both of them. Because again, MJF being, besides a natural born heel, he's a natural born talent. He is made for this business. He is a professional wrestler. And there's nothing you could say about that. There's something that you can say about Dominic. Dominic needed the training. He needed the time to practice his work and really work in the ring well. His promos were garbage for a long time. I think, honestly, the past 4 to 5 months, or maybe even 6, I'll give him, has been a lot better than what it has been when he did start off with the Judgment Day. And again, he does have people to lean on, like Finn and Rhea and Damian. So he doesn't. It's not someone like MJF where he doesn't have anybody to lean on. And same goes for like Roman. Like Roman has people to lean on, but MJF doesn't. It's him. It's him that he leans on.
You know what it is too? Is like I will always say MJ, and this is not a dig at anybody, but I will always say MJF is the better heel, is because you can manufacture a Dominic Mysterio, you can manufacture a Roman Reigns.
You can never manufacture an MJF.
He's natural. 1 in a million.
I agree.
Ric Flair was a natural. Ric Flair was a natural. And that there's nothing. Dusty Rhodes, natural. These are naturally born, gifted writers, promoters, heel work, baby faces, wrestlers.
I don't think you get that with Dom.
You don't get it with Dom at the moment, but you're getting more and more of it as the time goes on. So yeah, I would have to say MJF for sure, because it's natural ability compared to written.
Now, do y'all agree with MJF about Long Island being the happiest place on the planet?
Yeah.
Hold up, he said it wrong. The
most magical
place on earth.
It is when he comes. When he's not here, it's bullshit.
We got the LIE, which is terrible to drive on. We got Sunrise Highway, which is terrible
garbage. I listen again. I'm from the city originally. I'm not from Long Island. I do have to say that. But as a Long Islander later on in life, it's nice when he comes around, but it's not nice when he's gone.
You know what? Every time you say, I am originally from Queens, I don't know why it just reminded me. You ever see the episode of King of the Hill when Hank found out he was born in Yankee Stadium?
No.
King of the Hill, animated series made by Mike Judge, who made Beavis and Butthead. The main character is Hank Hill, this hardcore Texan guy, all American, bleeds Texas though. He's from Arlen, Texas. And in the later season, his dad Cotton, who has a terrible relationship, he came out and said, "You're not a Texan. You were born in Yankee Stadium." But he was like, his whole reality was shifted. So when you say, "Oh,
that whole reality being shifted. That's like that's like this one time when you say that reality being shifted. I told my coworker Goy, about me being Native American and Italian, and then he goes, "Wait, if you're Native, I'm Native too." Mind you, he's 100% South Sudanese, and so he's looking at me and he's like, "You ain't Native," and I'm like, "Bro, yeah, I am." I said, "I got family members that walk the trail. On my mom's side." Is my pawpaw is 50% Cherokee, 50% Italian. And then on my dad's side, we got Genesee, Sioux, German, and Irish.
German, Irish, Italian, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, there you go. And I mean, so I lean in, and I can lean into both. Because when I'm in the sun, even now, like a little bit, there's a little bit of pinkness to my arms, and this is not being sunburnt at all, but it just comes. But then when I'm in the sun, my skin just becomes a dark red, and it was kind of funny because when I came back from Florida, he just goes, "Oh, you did get red a little bit." He goes, "You're probably sunburned." I said, "No, I'm not sunburned." Smack my arm. And it didn't bother me. And then he goes, "Oh." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, I just, I don't get out in the sun much like I used to when I was a kid. You know what I mean? But, it's just that fun part. So when you said that, that's the first thing that popped into my head.
I love it.
But what's the best part about living in New York City, and do you prefer it to New Jersey?
No.
Did you just say you moved to New Jersey?
I would never move to Jersey. I would never move to Jersey.
Disrespect.
I would never.
No, I'm saying, do you prefer New York City to Jersey?
I prefer Queens over anything. From where I'm from, in Queens, it was a nice little area. It had everything in walking distance. I mean, school, church, deli, park, grandma, grandpa, uncle, aunts, everything was a big square. Now I have to take car rides, 10, 15, 20 minutes to go anywhere. There's no such thing as a taxi unless I call it on a phone.
It's called Uber now.
Yeah, it's called Uber now. It's very different. The food is different. There's some places on Long Island that is really good. Me and Sam, we know we're big guys. We know. But then there's some food out here that's straight dog water. And honestly, it's very expensive. As you get more and more to the richer part of the island, like the Hamptons and stuff like that, it is extremely expensive. The houses are 4 or 5 times bigger than they needed to be, with acres of land that's only used 2 months out of the year, and winterize the rest of it.
I kind of describe Long Island like this: if you want to discover what America is like, truly like, just go to Long Island, because
we got it all.
You go to Hamptons, Montauk, you got your California right there. Yep. You got the stars, the super rich and famous.
A lot. We have Jimmy Kimmel by us. We have Jerry Seinfeld by us. We have a lot of people where we
But
live. A lot of famous
they-
comedians, superstars even.
Then
I
you-
met Hugh Jackman personally a few times, which has been really, really cool. I've met Steve Carell. I've met Kevin Bacon. I've met I met Batista in an airport coming from Disney, from Tampa Bay to the city. We had to fly back in from JFK. But actually, like 2-3 months after Eddie Guerrero passed away, I met him. We took the same flight, which was really, really cool. I've met a couple of famous ladies, Christy Brinkley. I've met one of the women that created the Skinny Girl wine. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's a
I can't say I have.
it's just I don't know what kind of wine it is,
Like,
but it's like it's some
yeah.
type of fucking fancy.
So, Sam, like you were saying, so I'm guessing that's that Hollywood Walk of Fame kind of part of the
Is
island.
the Hamptons.
Is the Hamptons.
You go to certain places, it's just straight farmland. It's farmland. It's either a vineyard or actual real farmland. In
Yeah.
certain places, then you go. You got the burbs. You got like some city-esque type things. Long Island has it all, except for roads that are paved well.
Oh yeah, no roads out here are garbage. You'll
Hard-
get a flat tire.
I could get a Tyler to do a better job, and I think anyone from New York, especially Long Island, could agree that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Now,
they need
so
to-
Sam, and one thing that I heard you say a minute ago too was you were almost perplexed when he said I think he said he preferred Jersey to the city at first, kind of. So I almost wanted to ask, like, what do you think of New Jersey compared to New York?
As a New Yorker, there's always going to be a rivalry between the tri-state area. Let's be honest. There's a reason we're called the Big Apple. There's a reason that we have the Statue of Liberty. It's because we're New York, baby.
we
mean,
have better food.
That's
have
when
better-
he comes into
we
play and
have better
starts talking.
food.
He's city person.
We have better food. We have better people. We have better bagels. Don't even get me started. You go to Jersey and get a fucking bagel. Just eat dog water. Like, just eat out of a dog's ass. Honestly, like, yeah, it's just trash. It's straight
our
booty
one
cheeks.
football team is starting to get really good now.
Yeah, we got you know, we got the Yankees, we got the Mets even. Same, yeah. The Giants are in Jersey, and so are the Jets.
Yeah.
They call themselves New Yorkers, but they ain't New Yorkers. They're
We got
New
the Bills,
Jersey.
baby.
We got the Bills, the true New York team. We got the New York Knicks. Now they're called, I think they're called the Brooklyn Nets. So now we got the Brooklyn Nets and everything.
They went from Jersey.
They went from Jersey to Brooklyn because they knew it was better over here.
Yeah.
I mean, their career sucks, but you know they knew at least where the real fun is, at least over here.
Just
but,
to put it lightly.
yeah.
Kind of like when LeBron left Miami to go to the Lakers.
Yep. And let's be honest here. There's a reason that the world's most famous arena is
Madison Square Garden.
New York, baby.
You know, Billy Joel sells it out every year. He has a residency there.
And now we have that.
Vince McMahon had his first ever WrestleMania there.
You know, they say one thing they say about the Garden is if you can make it there, you can make it
anywhere. Yep. If you can make it in the city, you can make it anywhere. And it's so true because like for the city, like if you really want to go back, like in a fun history lesson, like when all the immigrants from different countries and stuff came over, New York was the most overpopulated place for a lot of immigrants to come. I mean, you had Irish, you had Italians, you had Jewish,
or at least from this coast.
Yeah, I mean,
from the other coast was California, San Fran specifically, I think.
Exactly. But we had a lot of like different cultures. Spanish people. We have, Jewish people.
It's a melting pot. There's a reason
Latin Americans, Germans, Irish, Italians. A lot of them built businesses from.
I always thought. See, I always knew about the Englanders coming over, but I always thought like the Spanish actually came up, from like Florida and stuff, as more to the south coming up.
Yeah. Texas, Florida. I think they went as far up as like North Carolina, South Carolina, even, and like the early stages of when a lot of the immigrants started coming over. I mean, we had Ellis Island, You know, we had the big thing of Ellis Island. A lot of my mother's side of the family came over from Ellis Island, on Ellis Island, from Ireland, from Germany. My father's side as well came from Italy, came over here as well, and came on the boat and everything, and
That's what it was.
Nothing.
Mom's side, because when I was talking about the Italian and the native, my pawpaw's dad came from Italy. Their last name was originally Liveretti, and before switched to Livery, and then they settled down in Georgia. But then that's when my great grandfather met my great grandmother, then created my papa, who created my mom, then created me. And I'm actually the firstborn grandson out of that side of the family.
Wow. That's really cool. Yeah, no, I mean, New York is a great spot. It's definitely something everyone needs to try to look at once and get a chance to see once in their life. We got great Broadway plays over here. We got great pizza over here. We got great bagels over here.
So here's a debate, all right? Because I know nothing slaps like a New York bagel. We can just
you are about to disrespect the New York slice by bringing up some deep dish lasagna, some.
You know what I was about to mention was the Chicago style versus the.
I've never been to Chicago. I've tried deep dish our way over here, and I never will eat it again.
We don't need deep dish.
Okay.
I'll never eat it again.
So now hot dog pop-ups, they're everywhere, especially around Central Park.
You only get it in dirty water from a guy that's picked his nose and scratched his ass, and I served it to you in the most dirty of ways. He ran it through his ass crack. He probably stepped on it.
That's the mustard.
That's You put it through the sewer system. That's your relish. It has to be the dirtiest of dirty. The peanuts on that fucking same food truck stand is the best. And honestly, man, it's so crazy to say that, but it's the truth. The dirtiest of the water for the hot dogs that sit in there is the best for the hot dogs. I don't know what's in that fucking water, but I tell you now, pesticides, melanoma, God knows what. But it's something great and tasty.
First time I ever had a New York bagel when we went to go visit my great grandmother in Warsaw. To me, it was the best thing I'd ever seen. But just the aesthetic, the way they correctly spread the cream cheese.
Correct. Right. We don't put no little finagle, fugazi, if everyone knows what I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
Type of schmear on the bagel. We're not from California, all right? You put a nice big clop on there. You make sure it chokes you when you're eating the damn thing, when you're trying to swallow the fucking pound-and-a-half cream cheese that's on a fucking poppy seed bagel. That's how you do. That's how you do it. Yeah,
you gotta respect the smear, or you know what? Get the fuck out of here.
Correct. Hey, listen, you gotta get a nice bacon, egg, and cheese.
I love that guy.
It's you're doing yourself a disservice.
Facts. And you know what? Well, I'm going to bring up one food that's it's actually more of a dessert that's New York style, but you already know, man, that New York style cheesecake.
The best cheesecake, I'm not going to lie to you, the best cheesecake in all of New York. I don't care what Buffalo has to say. I hope they get 27 fucking feet of snow for saying this. Junior's cheesecake is the best cheesecake you'll ever eat in your life. And if you think that you know differently, fuck off, because you don't know nothing. Your mother can make amazing desserts, and good for her. You keep that apple pie bullshit on the top of that fucking windowsill, so that way the deers and the rabbits can eat that shit. We're going to have real cheesecake by real Italians, know what the fuck's going on, and it's Junior's Cheesecake. I would say that that's probably the best. Of course, being Italian, I think my favorite dessert would have to be a tiramisu. Yeah, has to be. If not, and if I don't get no tiramisu, it's cannolis, of
I love
course.
cannoli.
And if it's not
Cannolis are
it is the
fire.
rainbow cake. Rainbow cake. It is the best. That pink, that yellow, that green rainbow cake is absolutely phenomenal.
A good cannoli is a work of art. Like, bro, that is something that, like, you know, I don't mind sharing food with people, but if you try to, like, even grab a bite,
I'll fight you for
I'm gonna beat your ass, man.
Especially if it's a good cannoli. Especially if it's a good cannoli.
Yeah.
Especially when it just came straight out the shell just came out the fryer. They just put in the filling and stuff, bro. Like, that's when it, man.
Yeah.
See, that's when it's the peak. But I gotta ask you this: favorite Italian meal?
That's a hard one. Because I can go classic. I could just say chicken parm. I could say, you know, spaghetti and meatballs.
I was just about to say chicken Alfredo.
You know, yeah, I would say fettuccine Alfredo. If you want to get real fancy, you could get the scarpaiello. It's like a little seafood type of dish thing.
Yeah, the shrimp and the scallops.
Yep. You could get the shrimp scampi type of thing if you want to go like a little bit more southern Italian, more closer to the water Italian. Yeah, I would say probably my two go-tos. Of course, you can't go wrong with chicken parm if you're done right. But if it's not the best, I would have to say, you know, you want to treat yourself as scarpaiello. It's definitely something to go with. There's one place that I used to go to when I used to live in Queens, and I just took him recently when we went to, was it to Full Gear, or was it just a day?
We just went up for a day.
And I took him to this old deli that I used to go to when I was a kid. And I told him, I said, it's going to change your fucking life. And he goes, all right. And it changed his fucking life.
It was amazing.
Damn, that good, man?
Yeah.
Dude, there's something about like New York delis and New York bodegas.
Oh, New York pastrami, bro.
Super different. But there's something about the two that it's just like, it's so good.
Yeah. The best pastrami, you got to get it from Cat's Deli.
Yes.
No matter what. I listen, everybody can do it semi differently. Everybody can do it, to me, semi close to Cat's. But I'm sorry, it goes to those Jewish people out there. They know what the fuck they're doing with that pastrami. It is 100% Cat's Deli. No matter where you go, you got to get it on rye bread, you know, cut the correct way. Cook the right way. You get a little taste of it while you're waiting for it. You know, it's the only way. I don't know any other way. So
and now let me ask you this. So, favorite meals, and it can be anything non-Italian. Just favorite meal. Like if I said right now, like you have whatever amount of money, if you want, just go grab it. What would you get?
Oh, dude.
You want to answer first because I already know mine.
Dude, for me, it's like I love to eat, so it's just like if I had an unlimited budget, that for me sounds like an unlimited buffet. I'm getting like some good steak. I'm getting a good pizza. I'm getting.
What's your rarity?
What
rarity on the steak?
I can usually do a medium rare, mainly towards the medium. Never well done. Never medium well. Always medium.
No, it needs a little pink in it.
Yeah. But like you're giving me steak, you're giving me a couple at least two burgers, cheeseburgers, bacon cheeseburgers.
Ooh.
I'm getting some fried chicken from where it doesn't really matter. I mean, maybe.
Oh, dude, it matters. All right. This is one now. I don't know if they have a what's it called? Bojangles.
Don't know if they have Bojangles. We do not have churches. We have just. There's a really good chicken spot. They don't serve actual pieces. They serve chicken tenders. It's called PDQ. That's a drive though, but that's some really good chicken right there.
I would have to say my meal though, if I have to pick one forever and always. If I want to be a kid again, it's the Kraft macaroni and cheese with the characters on it, SpongeBob specifically.
Okay, I was gonna ask.
But I am an adult. I have to act like an adult, so I'll get the creme de la creme Kraft Deluxe macaroni and cheese, the 4 cheese.
Ooh.
Between that and
I would-
Velveeta is probably the best.
I went
But
bougie.
I will.
You just completely went like.
Macaroni and cheese for me will always be my go-to. If I had $20 to my name and I needed a meal to fill me up, I'm going
That
straight.
Velveeta bacon mac.
Yeah, I'm getting the Kraft, but I'm actually allergic to pork, as crazy as it sounds. So I do not eat anything pork related, sausages, none of that.
I don't eat a lot of pork with my uncle being Muslim. He got me to stop eating pork for about he got me to stop eating pork for about 6 months. Even now, I can only eat pork in small amounts.
I don't eat it at all. I just eat chicken and seafood. I don't even eat steak. I'm not a big.
What?
Yeah, I'm not a steak
I
eater.
know.
I'm not really a burger goer. I am a very strict chicken and seafood type of person. Yeah,
I mean, brother, I love
rice.
chicken, but
I'm gonna say this to you. My go-to spot for food, and I literally was just eating it before here on live. It's Chipotle. I
Love
am
Chipotle.
a fan.
A mega fan.
Now listen, I came from Taco Bell, and I was willing to eat cat and dog meat for a very long time. Okay,
I'm so sorry. I used to work
horse.
Yeah, rat meat, dog meat, horse meat, whatever the fuck meat.
The great
mystery meat.
Yeah, that mystery meat that was in that T-Bell that gave you diarrhea for 3
So you want to know how their meat's cooked?
Tell me in 1 second, because I haven't eaten in like almost a month and a half, 2 months, and I'll never go back. But I used to literally live off of Taco Bell, and now I live off of Chipotle. So tell me, please ruin Taco Bell for me, because I've eaten everything off their fucking menu for over.
So I used to work there, all right, and this is how they do it. The meat comes into a cut up bag. It's in a bag, and the meat's already pre-cut up. There's no seasoning or nothing. We don't even put seasoning on the meat. What we do is we dump the bag into a pot, into like this thing of boiling water, and it has a little lid over it, and it sits there for about an hour or two until it gets warmed up enough for us to cut open the bag and then dump it in to this little metal container, and you put it on to the line where the food's served. But I'm thinking, okay, meat that's already in a bag, and it's already got like some kind of gray to it, because regular hamburger meat's pink until you cook it. This shit's already gray. So I'm not even really what the fuck it is.
It's mystery meat. It's mystery meat. You know what's funny? Like I used to get sick all the time eating.
But now I can't get off of this just real quick. What do you mean you're not a steak guy? I'm sorry, I can't get off.
No, listen, I'm just not a fan. Like I've tried it rare, I've tried it medium rare, I've tried it done, I've tried it well done. I've had burgers. Like, don't get me wrong. Like it's a very rarity you'll ever see me eating a burger. Like if I'm at a barbecue, I'm eating chicken. If I'm at a barbecue, I'm eating seafood. I'm not eating a burger. That's not my first choice. Hot dog is not my first choice ever. It's not even in my top 5. Like I literally will not eat it. It's nothing personal. It's just I prefer chicken. I prefer.
If y'all eat hot dogs, YouTube Snoop Dogg reacts to how hot dogs are made. You'll never eat one again.
Yeah. No, I feel like I wouldn't. But I just I don't know. Steak and meat just don't like each other. But I eat the barbacoa. I eat the barbacoa from Chipotle.
Oh, that's good.
I like that. I think that's really good. But I've been going heavy on that chicken El Pastor. I love
chicken. To me, I'll tell you this: chicken is the most blessed bird. All right, because that bitch don't fly. All right, and honestly, you can't tell me one motherfucker who hates chicken. I'll sit here all day on this podcast and we'll record for 12 hours. You won't name me one motherfucker who hates chicken. And fucking, but for me, it's got to be cooked a certain type of way. All right. If we're cooking it on a counter, All right, I'm putting garlic. We'll put salt, put pepper. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get that bitch like well fucking seasoned. I don't know if y'all have ever tried like it's kind of weird. It's kind of like a ranch sauce, kind of, but it's something you kind of like almost marinate chicken in, and then you cook it, and you kind of let the sauce kind of cook into the chicken. That's pretty damn good. Or grilled chicken is fucking phenomenal.
I love grilled chicken.
And then when it comes to fried, it has to be Bojangles or Popeyes. I do not fuck with KFC. Their chicken's dry. Fuck that.
We're Popeyes fans as well.
But no, I don't fuck with Popeyes biscuits. I'm sorry, I just can't. That's as dry as a bone.
That's him. That's him too. You know what's funny? I love their biscuits.
But I like
strawberry biscuits.
Rice.
The strawberry biscuits fire. I don't know if you tried that yet.
I have not. I always go with their honey biscuits. But now, while I don't care for the biscuits too much, their red beans and rice are always fucking phenomenal.
Real. All right, I gotta try that next time because like I'm a big Latin cuisine eater. I love the Latin food. I like my beans and rice, and I like the barbacoa. I like the chicken, the pollo, and everything. I like the tamales, the enchiladas, the fajitas, tacos. I'm a big Spanish food eater. Like Sam knows. Like
a rice that I absolutely love. Have you ever tried this? Arroz con gandules?
Describe it.
All right, so the rice appears as orange, and it's got olives, and I'm not sure what the kind of looks like peas, but it's not peas. And I'm not really sure how to explain that part, but it's a Puerto Rican rice, and it's really fucking good.
I gotta try that. That sounds fucking fire.
Like, bro, you try some of that, you will drop to your knees immediately and praise the Lord. Wow. It is that good. And if you try that with some grilled chicken and you got some corn with it, oh my God.
My favorite is the street corn. There's a place by me that makes the best street corn on the cob. Tahini, mayonnaise, a little bit of lemon and lime juice soaked inside the corn, a little bit of fresco on top, or a little bit of I can't pronounce it, but it's the one with the Q cheese that they do. No, it's not queso. It's a different word. It almost is like a mozzarella type of thing, but it's a lot easier and milkier to pull apart. It's actually really good in the way you're supposed to make queso is with that specific cheese, because the way that it melts and cooks is the correct way to add like the jalapenos and peppers and everything in there. So, but yeah, they make this amazing street corn, and I know you will never eat it in your life, but I tell you now, I can eat like 20 of them.
I mean, I feel like if you don't, you're missing out. But for me too, I also really love jerk chicken, curry especially. Like if you get me some curry chicken and some naan bread, oh my God.
There's this really great halal place by Sam where he lives, and makes this. They make this great Byzantine rice, a little bit of the tzatziki on top with some fucking pine seeds and Byzantine rice, and the chicken, dude, with like fresh onions and shit like that. These fuckers know what the fuck's going on over there, because that shit. You give me a container of that with the tzatziki and the red sauce, I'm done. There's no coming back.
For me, and another one too that I really like, and it's not so much involved in chicken. It's just a really good dish if you ever have the opportunity to try it. My mom went ahead and imported the spices because, like I was telling you, my coworker Goy, South Sudanese, he wanted some Ethiopian food, and he had said, and I quote, "White people can't cook." And now in the Midwest, this is 100% fact. I mean, you get food
Over
with
here
no
too.
seasoning. Oh, for real?
Oh yeah, no. Where I live specifically, where all the rich people are and shit like that, they make white people food,
Oh,
and
well, that's why, because they're rich and they don't know how to
it's
cook.
terrible. It's
But
really
you know,
bad.
I grew up in the South where food has flavor,
Right?
seasoning. You don't put
Yeah, I'm
raisins
Italian. I need
in
flavor.
potato salad, and
I'm not trying to
you
eat a
know
gefilte fish. You know,
when
like
when we came up here, I was so disturbed by the food because there's that lack of flavor,
yeah.
there's a lack of culture, and it just wasn't good. And if I stopped going out to eat because it wasn't worth it, and I will never forget this. So if you're from the South, sweet tea is one
Yep.
of your favorites. And when I came up here, I asked for sweet tea, and those motherfuckers looked at me like I was fucking stupid. They go, "We got hot tea and sugar." I'm like, "The fuck is that? The fuck is that, man?" And it's like it's supposed to be ice. It's supposed to, have a good
I
little
I
sweetness
have
to it.
to I have to send you on Instagram the next time I go food shopping, because I follow. I'm also on TikTok and shit like that too, and I follow all these like food people, and unfortunately, no, it wasn't him, but unfortunately, this one TikToker unfortunately passed away from a heart attack from eating like a fucking savage for so long. But this other guy, bootleg foods, he gets this certain sweet tea. He's from the South, and he gets this certain sweet tea from Walmart, and it's also in Stop and Shops over here by me and King Cullen's and stuff. And the next time I go food shopping, I have to remind myself to take a picture of it because I can't remember the name, but I tried it and it is amazing. I mean, I try
Some
sweet
of the
tea.
Newmans.
No. If you're doing yourself a disfavor if you don't have Newman's own half and half iced tea lemonade. I'm telling you now, the next time you go grocery shopping and you see Newman's pink lemonade, yellow lemonade, get those two. They're always great.
Their yellow lemonade's fucking fire.
Fire. But the best Newman's own product that he has, because all of it goes to charity, which is great. I love him for that. Is that it's all for kids like with diseases that are incurable and give them like opportunities to do like bigger and better things before they unfortunately pass away. But nonetheless, there's this half and half iced tea. I grew up on it. It is one of the best iced teas you'll ever have in your life. It's sweet. It's nice. It's refreshing. It's something you can have after a long day outside smoking. You have that to replenish yourself. You'll be sent to the moon. Like Cameron Grimes, you're going straight to the moon. Yeah, literally.
Yes, sir. And
Literally.
but getting back to the original sentence, so he had said white people can't cook, and which for him growing up here, understandable. These fuckers cannot cook, but I said bet because he loved all the food my mom would bring in and stuff. So I feel like he was really just trying to test me to see if she could make this because I told him that my mom can make any type of food you want. I truly believe this in my heart of hearts. My mom can make anything you wanted and make it great. And so he goes, well, can you get her to make me some Durawat? And so I said, yeah, I bet. So I went ahead and we looked up a recipe, and the traditional recipe too, where it takes about 4 hours to make. And we spent over $55 on imported spices alone. And when we brought that into him, oh man, you should have just seen the look on his face of shock and joy.
Yeah.
And he goes, man, this actually tastes like it's authentic. Like it has the flavor, it has the texture, everything. And for me, it was my first time trying it. I won't lie. And it was really spicy, but man, it was really fucking good. And I was just like, damn, this has instantly became one of my favorites. And so I'd probably say that's one for sure that I love that my mom makes. But one thing, and this is where I was really happy that you said you really like a lot of Latin foods and foods from different cultures. That's where you really learn how to cook. You're not going to learn how to cook making that, them old hot dogs, hamburgers, that potato salad, that
American food.
Yeah, you ain't going to learn how to cook making that. You got to make food from other countries and other places. And if you can do well at that, then you can say you know how to cook. Because for some reason, bro, you could put me in India, put me in Africa, put me in Japan, and they can all cook better than America. Not really sure why.
100%.
And so,
sorry, but yes, 100%.
And so I know this podcast is like took a whole like 450.
Whole left turn. Dude, it's 3:30 in the morning where we are right now. We have literally spoken to you for 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. We've spoken to you for about almost 6 hours. 4 of those hours we weren't even talking live. 3 of them we were talking live. And it's been great.
Wait, you say 6 hours?
I'm fucking shot to shit.
All right, I am. That's 7.
They don't feel like 6 hours.
Yeah, no. It does. It feels like 2 hours, to be honest with you.
I feel like I'm just at home with you guys. I mean,
that's great. I'm happy to hear that, and I hope your fans are happy to have us as well. I mean, we definitely want to be on more, and have more episodes like this or wrestling related, is also good.
Vice versa, I can't wait to do some stuff for you guys as well.
Yeah, we're excited
because, like I said, I haven't even thought about the time. You saying 6 hours shocks me because my shift earlier was 8 hours. I don't feel like I've been sitting here for 6 hours. I've legit been having a great time, and just getting to connect with y'all on a level that this ain't even about wrestling at this point.
No.
This ain't even about wrestling.
And that's something I wanted to start doing, not for nothing, like on the channel for us. We've always talked about having the different copious amount of topics and stuff to branch off on. And I feel like tonight was a very good test trial from, being off air, now on air, and kind of still continuing the conversations. So I definitely think that the next time we're all together, and including JoJo, need to have a very just fun, loose podcast. Like I think that would be very interesting for all of our fans to get to really know all of us even more on a personal level than a wrestling professional. They're all about the wrestling type of level.
Because, a lot of times, in this world, right, you don't ever get to see the genuine person. You only get to see this facade. Right. And for me, I have not put on a mask this whole entire time. Everything I've said to you has been genuine. And that's just because I don't know why. I just feel so comfortable with y'all. Like, even though this is my first time talking to you, I feel so comfortable.
Really is our first time talking to each other.
I just showed up randomly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, shout out to JoJo because he was the one who talked to y'all first, and Willie as well. Because without that, this, don't happen. Because I got to admit, with me working, I'm not on the social like that. So, for me, like I said, just my first time getting to really talk to y'all. I've been fans of your work for a while. So to now just get to know you guys. I love you guys even more than what I thought I would going into this.
That's awesome.
I do appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Look, we're 2 guys that, of course, love wrestling. I mean, you see it, you hear it. For Christ's sake, I'm on fucking 7 days a week. For Christ's sake, so I get it. If I'm not about wrestling at that stage of the game, I don't know when I will be. But besides that, we're gamers, man. We're foodies. We like to party. We like to let loose. We like to have fun. We like to have new ideas and create new things, create new memories, meet new people like yourselves, like Willie, like the people in Pro Wrestling News, like James from Dataway Show, and even just make new connections and bring people up. Like I said, like James, it's very funny. And I want to talk about James real quick.
Go ahead.
James over on the Pro Wrestling News channel is probably one of my, of course, besides Willie, besides Ray, and besides everybody else, like, don't get me wrong. Yes, I love you all. But, James, it's a very funny story how we met, man. And it's one of my favorite stories to tell because I was working and one day I got a DM from him on Twitter. And the first thing he said to me was like, hey, man, I've been listening to you for a while. I just want to say you're doing great work. I hope one day we could work together. And I literally hit him back 2 minutes later and was like, absolutely, like anytime. He was like, you're the first person to talk to me, then just shoo me off and not like acknowledge me at all. Shout out to the tribal chief. Exactly. Throw the ones up. But now he's the 2. So we have to throw up 2s. Anyway, he was just like, yeah, you never, you didn't shoot me off or anything. I was like, no, I gave him my personal number. We literally spoke for like an hour and a half in the car, and we just talked about how much he wants to do wrestling or wants to make content. He didn't really know where to start. And I told him my coming, which was, I had him, I used to, like I said, I used to make music way back in the day. I had a bunch of equipment. I had all the studio equipment and a MacBook and everything. And one day I just decided to go on Anchor and sign up and make an episode, and it spiraled into another episode and another, and so on and so forth.
It's crazy. Anchor and Spotify is what this podcast started on.
Yeah, same.
Yep. Before Eli Gundy came into the picture with the Midwest Marks podcast, like I said, YouTube wasn't a possibility. Right. It's not like me and JoJo can be right next to each other like you guys are now, because like I said, living across the country since I moved up here. And so we just never knew how to make this possible.
Right.
And so for 3 years, we did the One Shot Killers podcast on Spotify. And, we'd get about, 5 or 6 listeners. But we never thought we would make it. We just did it because we loved it.
Right.
And then, like I said, we started doing more with social media. Once we had reached 100 followers, subscribers, whatever the hell, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, it gives you that confidence to take the next step forward. And Eli had allowed us on his. And then when I seen how he was doing his podcast, I was like, I think I can do this. And so, that's where that started. And then through other people like Alex Coquito, Dylan, and so many others LJ, Willie, that all gave us a chance. RJ and Brevamonte, they all gave us a chance. And that's what put us here.
Right.
And that's where I love, you mentioned that connection as well, because if you've ever made it, chances are you didn't make it by yourself. There's no such thing as a self-made man. You know what I mean? Especially in this world, I feel like one of the most beautiful things to come out of this whole podcast experience is the people you meet from the internet wrestling community. Because, if you've ever been on Twitter, it's a bunch of toxic, crazy fuckers.
Yeah, it's some wild people on there.
I was afraid for a little bit to go ahead and do it. Twitter has some great people and it has some crazy people. And, but, and same with Instagram as well. But, I was nervous because I was like, well, I don't know really what I'm getting myself into and stuff. And ever since, besides literally one person since we started this, has been nothing but love. And I'd say the best part about this journey is getting to meet you, getting to meet Sam, getting to meet Willie, getting to meet Eli and Jordan and everybody else who gave us a chance, because I've loved this since I was a little boy. I started watching wrestling when I was 2 years old. I'm 22 now. I've loved this in a way I can never love anyone else or anything else. And you grow up in school getting made fun of for it, watching that quote-unquote fake shit and all that. I never thought I'd ever get to connect with people about this.
Yeah.
And so to now, be where we are and have the opportunity afforded to meet so many wonderful, good-hearted people in this community, that's the beauty. That's the beauty behind all this, because I tell you, the money ain't it, because we're not quite there yet to where I can.
Not yet. Very soon.
Oh, absolutely. But where the payoff is worth more than money.
Yeah.
It's the connections that you meet that you take with you forever.
Correct. And I feel that way 100%. And I know, we talked on and off air. I'm a big micromanager. I love to make sure things are set the way they're supposed to be set, and it has to be a certain way. And, you know, after kind of breaking out of that shell and coming into my own and being that person that Sam knew me for and everything, and I have to give him his flowers too, because he kind of made me get out of that shell forcefully, but in a good forcefully way. You know, break me out of that. Like, hey man, you just gotta breathe, and like everything's gonna fall into place. And it has, like, meeting you guys, being able to be now a part of the pro wrestling news team, working with people in the UK. I never even thought of going out of the States and working with people out there. I never considered myself being on Twitter as heavy as I am, and being in talk spaces with AEW people, and having wrestling friends on Twitter, on Instagram, being able to communicate with ex-managers and have these great connections, and really build up fan bases. Like, I mean, you see it, like, you know, Brendan, when we're on with Willie and stuff like that. Like, I'm getting my L's in the chats. I'm having my random fucking moments where people aren't liking my takes, but I'm taking it with stride because they love me and I love them, and I love the community that me and Willie and everybody has built together and side by side. I love what me and Sam do side by side. The watch-alongs itself are, I mean, classics right there, man. We're throwing classics at you for free at this point, and you know, we just can't wait to do the next thing. Do what's bigger. What could we do better? What could we make different that people are going to be like, holy shit, I can't believe they did that. Holy shit, I can't believe that happened. And like, you know, I'm not trying to plug anything, but I'm going to really quick.
Oh no, I want
you know, you know, like today, now that it is 3:27 in the morning Eastern time, we have about maybe 12 hours, of course, until you know, Double or Nothing, the AEW big pay-per-view of May. And we have
13 hours and 3 minutes.
Yes. Okay. So 13 hours. We have 13 hours from now
And
until whatever. We have 13 hours from now, and you know, come 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
15.
Anytime right now.
A lot
of time from right now. We have a good amount of time from right now until me and Sam, and of course the wonderful people of the Wrestling Junkies, No Bones About It Wrestling, Wolf and Willie, representing the Willie Does Wrestling show YouTube channel, Wolf from Pro Wrestling News, us from the Last Week of Wrestling podcast. We're going to be giving you guys one of the best
surprises.
Watch along, I think, that we've ever pulled off. It is something we have been planning for a really long time.
Good amount of time.
And we have very big reveals. We have some big surprises.
Secrets.
Brandon, you do know what I am talking about. And you know, don't say anything, please. We're almost at that finish line, so don't ruin it just yet. But
like I said earlier with the Snoop Lowrider, the game is to be sold, not to be told.
Yeah, and when you guys see it, you know, when you watch this video, when you watch us, when you watch our watch along, which I hope you all do, you're gonna be in for an amazing surprise, a great time. We're gonna have a lot of laughs, a lot of fun moments, a lot of memorable moments, a lot of reveals, and it's just gonna be one hell of a time to be fans of wrestling and in a part of this wrestling community. And you know, that to me, if we can pull that off successfully, I won. We won. And that's how I look at my victories, is as long as the episode, people are coming out of there going, we enjoyed this. This is good. We need more of this. We won. I don't care. You could throw a whole big bundle of money at me. Yeah, I might take it. But at the same time, in all honesty, if people continuously come back and talk about it and really have us in those conversations, like it seems to be, you know, to us, that is a huge win. And to us, that is bigger than any sponsorship, anything that we could be gifted with as time goes on. Mind you, to sponsors all across the nation, we still want your money. We would love to have you on. You know, don't think we're trying to say no. We're, you know, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, let me know. You know what I mean? Like, give me some. We can get some great commercials. We can get some going and everything going on. But you know, in reality,
and
I'm very happy.
I think the biggest thing to remember is, and this is something that I've always made sure me and JoJo know. I can't, I can't do this without you. It's something I tell him all the time. Like, and
Yep.
even if I could, I don't want to.
Yep.
And that's a line from
Same for
Supernatural.
Sam and I.
And and it's like when you are doing the show with your brother, that is everything. Because doing the show without him, I've done shows by myself. He's done shows by himself. We always text each other, and we're like, "Man, it didn't feel right without you. I need you." And I think that because sometimes, like, I've heard him say it, I've said it, where I'm like, "Oh man, my podcast is doing pretty fucking great," and then I got to catch myself, and I'm like, "No, our podcast."
I say it all the time. Sam knows it. I am so. It's our podcast, our podcast. I do it all the time. But in all honesty, and to your point, Brandon, it is our thing. Like Sam knows when he came on, and he and Sam can elaborate as much as he wants on it, but when he came on, I know he was a little skeptical and a little hesitant because it's different. It's a different thing. This isn't just us talking. Now we have a microphone in front of us. Now we have something where people are going to have our voices forever. And that's the
Can I ask y'all
scary
something
portion
real
of it.
quick?
Yeah.
What's y'all's streaming platform? Like, what do y'all stream off of right now?
So in the beginning, it was straight off. I would record the audio, and it would just be audio. And now we do Restream, like we are right now, and we do on YouTube. We stream live on YouTube, and we stream also live on Twitter. Because with Restream, you're allowed to stream on 2 different platforms at the same time with the free version, which is really cool.
I want y'all to go ahead and get the so right now I'm doing the $19.99 monthly, and right now we're currently all the 3 of us are on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
Yeah,
I could add 2 more if I ever figured out how to do Instagram Live and somehow do live with TikTok, but one step at a time. And one thing I like is when you go ahead and you pay that extra, they allow you certain customization options that you don't get originally. So like one being like the custom background, but also the intro. And I got to give shout out to Dylan, but y'all seen it started the episode, that intro. So I created the logo. I was playing WWE 2K22, created an arena. And then I went into a photo editor, added the little joint and bong man, and then there's your logo. He went ahead, somehow fucking added lights, music, made these little fuckers jump up and down. Not really sure how the hell he did it. I'm not good with all that. But, he went ahead and he did that for us. And then, even this background, instead of having the Restream logo and stuff, you can have your logo up. And one thing that I would tell you to do about that, and this is shout out to Restream as well, it allows you to have that ultimate customization.
Yeah.
And, and this is something I want to say for any podcasters because it's no secret. I mean, if you read our descriptions, it says powered by Restream. So I have no problem putting them on the market because without this service, I wouldn't even be able to be where I'm at right now.
100%.
So, if you go ahead and do that $19.99 a month, go ahead, get your backgrounds, get your logo, get your intro, let it completely feel like it's yours. This right now is my studio. I know ain't nobody else got a studio like this one. And when you get that, you're going to really feel like, it's that, what I mean? It's that next thing. And it really is. Because to me, it gives out so much. And one thing too, and I'm totally not plugging myself here, but one thing that it allows you to do is if y'all have a clothing shop, y'all can go ahead and scan that QR code right now to the One Shot Killers brand shop. Get your shirt and King of Bong style sweatshirts. We just started releasing blankets and everything like that. So QR code will take you there, but that's another thing too, and it's something that if you guys don't know about how to make your own merchandise and stuff, y'all can hit me up personally, and I'll tell y'all how to do that. I'm not going to say how to do it on here.
Yeah,
Then
that definitely is a question because
Yeah.
we've been considering starting one, and a lot of the fans we've noticed want it and want us, even in the pro wrestling news, to make something. So I'm thinking of trying to do a collaboration in a sense with Last Week in Wrestling and Pro Wrestling News. Because I had a couple of ideas, and I don't want to say it either because the ideas are definitely really cool, and I don't want someone else taking the idea. So,
yeah,
I'm going to be a little selfish, unfortunately, there, but I'll tell you because, I trust you and you're a good guy. And, we've literally almost a 7-hour fucking conversation. So at this stage, if I haven't trusted you by now, I don't know when I will.
right.
I see what you guys are doing. So, I love learning. I love learning from others. And we're not in a competition. I just love seeing.
If anything, I support you guys. If y'all started releasing merchandise tomorrow, I'd buy. Like, honestly.
Oh, wow.
Nothing but love and support there. And, one of the things that we've been able to do now, personally, I'm the creative one. JoJo is great at social media, and I'll give him props. He just got Instagram over 2,000 followers. That's all him. Cannot do that. Like I said, I hire Dylan for my editing. I hire JoJo for my social media. I'm great with the talking, but I can also go ahead and create logos, and I create all the items on our shop. I went ahead and made personally. And probably the one I'm the most proud of is actually, of all things, a fucking blanket. And so I know it's not the best quality.
Yeah, I really actually like that blanket. It was something because we also were like, what could we do? Shirts, hats, keychains, bracelets, blankets, beach towels, we were thinking of random shit, and we still are. We're still trying to figure out our thing in a sense, and again, we're brand new. We just started this January, man, and we're at
this January.
This January, yeah.
You know what?
I started January.
Last January.
No. We started this January. I will tell you the exact date from the first podcast episode. Give me 1 second. Let me.
If you go to your YouTube channel and then you go to its about, and see, I'd have to go
January 21st.
Scroll over to about. What was it?
January 21st is when the very first podcast episode came out. And on, what are you guys up to?
January 5th, 2022.
So, okay. So you wanna laugh? Ours came out, our YouTube channel started February 7th, 2023.
Wow.
A month later. And we are at over 100,000 plus views in total. That includes videos. Yeah, that includes videos. That includes shorts. That includes watch-alongs. That includes everything.
Well,
that's
brother,
just YouTube
y'all put
alone.
me to shame on this, and y'all been on less time than me and JoJo have. Right now, we have 82,423 accumulating. So I'm proud of you guys on that. Don't know what your formula has been completely, but
I'll tell you off stream. I'll tell you a trick that we did off stream.
Huh.
For sure.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'll stream bet because I don't know what y'all did, but man, you're killing it. Because like I said, our first goal for the first year, and which we're only a year and 3 months in, was to be at 250. Mm-hmm. We're at like 733, and so and honestly, it just goes to this one scripture: faith without works is dead. Meaning that you can be the hardest working person, but if you ain't got no faith, it ain't gonna happen. If you can be the most faithful person, but if you don't work, it ain't gonna happen. You need that balance. And honestly, that's probably took us the furthest, but also just being genuine. I've held nothing back, and I will hold nothing back because I want you to take a piece of me even after this podcast. And that goes for the listener, that goes for you and Sam, and that goes for anybody that will have later. You know what I mean? I'm not driven by money. I'm not driven by sponsors. I just love to do this. And I love to meet people who love to do this.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'll be honest, you watch our first video back, and it was our cannabis fight. Yeah, cannabis fights COVID video. We were nervous as hell. Couldn't even do this and just look at the camera and talk. I had to keep going. And and it's just one of those things to where you're real nervous, or you have family members, friends telling you, "Oh, don't do this, don't do that." People aren't going to watch a podcast with a lot of cursing. People aren't going to watch a podcast with a bunch of potheads. And here's the one thing I said: I will never be untrue to myself. If I can't be myself, I don't want to do it.
Right.
And so remember the people who were with you from day one. Remember the people who said you can do it even when you yourself didn't believe it, because we've all been in that situation. And believe that where you are is where you are, but where you're going is going to be a lot further. So enjoy the journey. It's not the destination, it's the journey. And if you can find the joy in the journey, celebrate 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, all the way up to you get your ass to 1 million. Celebrate each little milestone, because that's going to be what makes it worth it. And, we got, and to be honest with you, the t-shirts, the cups, the posters, and all that shit, didn't think we'd have till year 4. My mom made that possible. And so what I'm going to tell y'all later so y'all can start yours, that came from her. That didn't come from me. And, so once again, outside help is how we've grown. It's not been because me and JoJo are great. I'd like to tell you it was, but it's not. It came from other people just taking a chance on us. And that's the biggest thing. And, so now for me, I just want to give back as much as I can. The biggest thing that I want to do going forward, and we already have some mock-up products, the One Shot Killers Cannabis. That is one I want for sure. And I also, I got this Jay and Silent Bob bong, and it's got their little logos on it and them in cartoonish style. I want a One Shot Killers bong with the little joint man and the little bong man on there. And that is something I want to make happen. But, those are just little podcast goals to sell stuff. But ultimately, if you ask me, what is my number one drive? What's my number one drive for my job at work? And what's my number one drive for this? It's the one day that I will buy my mother a house and be the one to retire her. Right. If I can do that, I have done something right.
Correct.
But, so for me, that's the drive each and every morning, is that one day I, as her son, will be the one to retire her and make sure she don't got to work off of her back. That's what I want. And so, going forward, and I'm going to tell you all this, have a source behind your goals. Because if you have no source behind your goals, ultimately you have something called just dreams. And dreams without goals are just dreams. And ultimately they feel disappointment. But on the road to achieving your goals, you must apply dedication and, more importantly, consistency. Because without dedication, you'll never start. But without consistency, you'll never finish. And, so believe in that. Believe in yourselves as I believe in you. Keep on making plays, even when it seems like the light ain't on you. All right, channel ain't where you want it to be. Keep on making plays. Not at monetization. Keep on making plays. If only one person's watching, keep on making plays. Because if you do so, I promise you the possibility is very high. But if you ever give up, the only thing you ever guarantee is 100% failure that it ain't going to happen.
Damn. No, 100%. I respect that. I do. Thank you for that.
Oh, no problem, bro. No problem. And I appreciate you guys, honestly. I know we haven't covered the whole damn show, in which I'll probably change the title of this so we can go back at a later date, bring y'all on again, and we'll actually do the review.
Good idea.
Because But I've just enjoyed talking to you guys and getting to know you, and that more to me than even doing the damn review. And that's why I'm saying, like, I love wrestling because it brings us together. But when you get to meet somebody and they're so genuine, like I said, we can just have an 8, 7, 9 hour, 10 hour conversation, and it feels you. That's everything.
Yes.
And so I appreciate you guys. I thank you guys seriously. And I really look forward to doing this again down the road.
Oh, we will be.
The only reason I'm closing us off the show is because it's 2:45 and I have to be up by 9.
2:45, bro. It's 3:45 over here. We gotta go to bed. I gotta get some rest.
I feel that, bro. I got to work tomorrow, and we got the podcast as well. I'm gonna tune in to y'all's tomorrow. Really looking forward to what y'all do for the watch along.
6:30 Eastern time, 7 p.m. your time. Would be when you can come and view us and stuff like that. Of course, I will say this again.
We start at 6:30.
We start at 6:30.
He's an hour behind us.
He's an hour behind. It'd be 7 o'clock.
Yep.
It'd be 5 o'clock for him.
Yep.
By the time he gets
right now it's 2:46.
Okay. So for us it'd be 8.
Yep. So, because for right now, for me it's 2:46 a.m. For y'all it's 3:46. It's just like me and JoJo. If we go live at 8 o'clock my time, it's 9 o'clock his.
Yeah.
Right.
But now
time difference.
Also, yeah, I know it's weird, but
you got a time difference. James has a time difference. Me and Willie don't have a time difference. Rain doesn't have a time difference. Jodo doesn't have a time difference. But yeah, you and James are my only two guys, and then you guys in the UK that have a time differences. It's so totally different. I'm like, it's what time over there by you? What the fuck? Like,
oh yeah, and that's the one thing too is for me it don't feel like a time difference because if you're talking Florida time, I grew up there for 12 years, so for me it makes sense. Just like this makes sense. So I get you, but yeah, it can be weird because like my sister, she's in Seattle, and she's 2 hours behind me, 3 hours behind y'all. So I get y'all when it comes to that, but like I said, I'm going to be tuning in tomorrow to you guys. I also have y'all added. Because I don't know if y'all recently seen that, but now YouTube has things to where you can add a channel and it makes it easier to find it, kind of like on Twitter or something like that. So you guys are actually in the title. People can click on your name and go to your channel. So make sure to check out your boys. Give them a like, comment, subscribe, because tomorrow they're going to kill it. We got some big plans coming up for both of our channels. So make sure you tune in because this is only the beginning, because all 4 of us are going to the moon. And
I love it.
As I close us out, this hit is for you guys. Go big or go home. I'm going to put this on my purple
fucking crystal right there. That's a fucking crystal.
92% THC. And
fucking slumped real soon.
So, which is great because I have to go to bed because I got to be up for work tomorrow anyways. So, this about put my ass there. So, this one is for you guys. And once again, I can't wait till we do this again.
Yeah, same.
Y'all just, at any point y'all ever want to go live, I don't even care if we ain't scheduled it. Just text me or JoJo. And I'd be more than happy to have you guys on. Or
one of these days, I would love to be a part of the TV show reviews with you guys. Even if I come on a little bit later after me and Willie do the watch along, I think it'd be really fun. Especially if you guys are going to cover Collision, because I think, like I said, Sam, I know we'll be more on like Fridays and Saturdays. So
let's do that. June 17th is the first Collision show. And it's at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. You already know, in my heart, CM Punk confirmed. Let's go ahead, if y'all haven't planned anything already. June 17th.
Now I don't. I'll have to double check with you in like the next day or two. But as of right now, the only thing I have is the watch along with Willie. And then after the watch along, I don't have anything, which takes us about like 15-20 minutes after the fact to do like a little quick summary of what happened, because we kind of do it throughout the whole show. So once that's done, we'll let you know when we're about to wrap up. And then if you want to wait to start all together live, then we'll do that.
All right, that sounds perfect because I really want to do that show with y'all. And it's not too often you get to do too many first ever episode of Collision. I think that one would be fun.
Okay.
So, I mean,
Okay, you're booked. You're booked.
You're booked.
Yes, sir. And bro, I'm really hoping CM Punk is in that United Center. I know he fucked up with AEW, he ran his dick sucker, but at the same time, he's still a major draw. There's a reason that All Out's made $1 million game, and so I'm really hoping he comes back. But with that said, here we go. 3, 2, 1, burn.
Oh boy. He's dead. He's dead.
You have okay.
All right. With that said, peace out. Too sweet. We love you guys. I'm trying not to drool.
We love you
Good night,
too.
everybody.
Be well.